Hello, how is everyone today? This is the 39th episode of the Twitchcast. How is everyone in chat? And not more importantly, but how is everyone here this evening? How are you doing, Victor?
I am lovely. Just finished a lovely cup of tea, which I'm sure everyone's thrilled to hear. I'm good. I hope you're okay too.
Disgusting tea, you mean?
Lovely tea.
No, disgusting. Yubellion. People should know Yubellion as he's been on a few streams. I'm not sure if you've actually been on the Twitchcast. Is this the first one, or have you been on before?
Not on the Twitchcast specifically, no. This is my first.
So for those who are new to the Twitchcast, you'll get to meet Yubellion for the first time, and for those who are not new, you get to meet Yubellion for the first time. And also, the Doom Spoon is back.
Good evening.
He managed to fit us into his busy schedule of work, fatherhood, and also his own podcast now, which is called Metalladads, isn't it?
Metalladads, yeah. It's a whole thing. I don't want to take too much time up, obviously, talking about it, but it's basically a group that me and a friend have set up to support fathers, and we do that through the medium of heavy metal. That what we're using heavy metal as the link, because we all know we all know how hard it is to talk, and we all know how especially for guys, you know, there's that stigma of guys not opening up and stuff like that. So the point of the group, and which is now expanded to a YouTube channel, which we do like a podcasty episode-y thing on there. We got a Facebook group, Facebook page, and that. The point of it is that we use heavy metal to start conversations, and then we hope that those conversations will then eventually lead to people asking the questions that they need to ask to help them. So that's kind of the whole thing we got going on. Being really super busy with that, lots of homework and lots of just like I'm literally like pretty much for the foreseeable future, I've basically like given up streaming for like gaming and that, because I want to just focus all my effort on kind of building this. And we got a good start. We got about 60 members on our Facebook group. And you know, the YouTube thing's going well, and we're just doing like loads of homework and background work to get content for that, basically. So yeah, so super busy, but we hope it's for a good cause anyway.
Yeah, it sounds it, man. At the end of the day, it's understandable. There's whole stigma of men and not sharing and being emotional, and I think having a podcast to talk about that is only a good thing, if you ask me.
Yes,
anyway.
Exactly. That's what we'd like to think, at least, anyway. So yeah, the channel. Just sorry if you know, don't mind me if I plug it. If you just go on YouTube and search for Metalladads, that's I got to spell this off the top of my head now. Metalladads, Metalladads, all one word. You'll see us pop up, basically. Alternatively, if you happen to be a father and you happen to and you're into any form of heavy metal, any branch of it, you know, as we know, it expands massively. If you're into any form of it and you kind of just want to be part of a group where we share memes and we talk bollocks, to be honest, a lot of the time, and we have a laugh, you know, we do things in the group that just a bit community fun, and it's good fun. Then you can find us with the same name on Facebook. We have a page and a group. So yeah, there's my plug done.
There you go. Shall we start with talking about the games this week? Also, you should be plugging us to your friends over on the metal thing.
Probably should do, yeah.
You should, yeah. Be like, hey guys, I'm also a nerd who plays games.
Subscribe to Pedz.
Basically, we're going to start talking about the state of play first. We're going to talk about the state of play. We're probably going to try be not too long talking about the state of play, as well as Switch Pro rumors. And we're going to look at any questions from the forum first before we move into Pokemon, simply because Victor doesn't really know much about Pokemon. So he said he won't be able to contribute to the conversation. So when he leaves for his 10 o'clock poop, we'll talk about Pokemon.
Dump them on.
So I've got up a list of the games from State of Play. Normally I'd actually watch it whilst writing a fucking load of stuff down, but I haven't done that this time. So I've actually just gone on IGN to look at the games. Like, it starts off here, right, with Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade and the PS5 version of Final Fantasy VII Remake. I think that was like the final announcement, so it starts off with the. So we'll just talk about Final Fantasy VII straight off the bat. I don't care. What about you guys? I'll be honest, it's not that I don't care. I was never a massive fan of Final Fantasy in general. I really like 6, and I've really enjoyed 9. I enjoyed 11, and I've enjoyed 14. But like 7, I just didn't care about. I'm tempted to. I've actually said I'm going to replay the game and give it another, not so much a chance, but another test of my. I don't know if I really like it or not. Now, so for the remake, I don't care. In that sense. What about you guys?
It doesn't hold that kind of nostalgia for you. Is that
exactly? There's no nostalgia there, so I don't care about the remake. But yeah, I would rather play the original game before I played the fully. Yeah. Before I played the remake anyway. That's the way I am. It's like even a game like not so much Final Fantasy because usually they're not story link, but a lot of games if there's like some kind of story link in there at all. If like a second game comes out, I won't play it even if I really want to until I've played the first game and stuff like that. I'm just a bit strange like that, you know.
I'm just the same. I wouldn't skip it if you're intent. If you've got that train of thought, make sure you play it. I mean, it's funny me like Final Fantasy VII is one of my favourite ever games. Me and the guys I used to go to school with had Super Nintendo and Mega Drive between us. And we used to like RPGs was our favourite genre. Always, when one of us got a new RPG, whether that was like Story of Thor or Terranigma or Secret of Evermore or something like that, we'd just give each other our console so we could all play it. We all swapped everything. So when Final Fantasy VII came out, I remember my mate, we were then just starting college. So God, would I been like just 17, coming up 18 when it came out. And he's like, "Have you played 7 yet?" So no, I haven't got it yet. He's like, "Go and buy it on your lunch break. It's amazing." I remember going home and playing that. And even now, every time I watch the intro of that game, I just get shivers every single time I see it. I'd never played anything like it. It was amazing. I mean, I replayed it on my Switch. I didn't quite finish it, but I replayed it on my Switch last year. And it's got some pretty shit bits in it. It's an old game, it's going to have some sort of questionable bits, but it also still has some just, I hate to use the word epic, but epic moments. It really is a fantastic RPG. But it's funny with the remake though, I want to play it all. I don't want to stop it wherever the game stops. So I'm thinking, I'll hold off until the whole thing's completed, which might never happen.
It might never happen, but then you're not missing out, aren't you?
Yeah, but it's like
because I thought people would be pining for oh my god, I want a conclusion to this. Especially if there are story changes in there throughout. People can be like, I want to know what happens at the end, and if it never ever comes, then at least then you wouldn't have to. You'd be like, I don't care. I don't have to worry about it.
I mean, if you're inclined to play the first one, I mean, you play a lot of retro stuff anyway, so you don't strike me as one to go, oh, it looks shit, and I'm not playing this. And
no,
I think it's an excellent game. It really is.
I've played Bubsy 3D within the last year. Doom. So, I think I could pair up with Final Fantasy VII.
It's funny that it's just come out on PlayStation Plus, which is brilliant, having not played it. The thing that gets me is I'm really sort of down on this current console generation. I mean, it's only just got started, but they're really not impressing me. There's just like the PS4 and that, it's like diminishing returns now, isn't it? And when they did that comparison of like, hey, here's it side by side, you shouldn't need that. You should be looking at me going, you should be looking at it going, fuck me, look how good that, like, oh my god. I mean, it looks amazing anyway, but you should be looking at it going like, oh my god, look at this. Shouldn't have to have it like side by side. And when they did side by, some of the PS4 stuff looked better.
Yeah, and that's the thing, isn't it? Is, as you say, it's the law of diminishing returns. As further generations come out now, these will just become more side grades than upgrades. You know, obviously there's certain things that I appreciate, quality of life improvements, stuff like a specifically designed SSD. That's great. You know, faster loading times, we can all appreciate that. But it is getting to the point now where, well, no, I know why they don't, but you know, we are getting to the point now where consoles almost need to become almost modular, and then the parts can just be upgraded as and when. So we're talking PC territory really, but you know, dedicated systems just, you know, that are modular possibly, because it's just getting to the point now where I've got an Xbox One X, and like I've had a couple of opportunities to buy a Series X now, and I just haven't bothered because, like, apart from some quality of life upgrades, but they're not like mind-blowing, as you said. You know, it is just like, it's just smaller and smaller upgrades.
Yeah, I think the I've seen ray tracing stuff and what have you, and it's mad, and it really looks cool. I think like it's weird. General graphics is not improving much, but like the lighting with ray tracing is improving and all that kind of things.
Yeah.
What's
Detail.
Like that's what's being enhanced. But the issue is like art direction is going to be a main thing in there. And I think with the power of things now, because you're not getting a massive return from the visuals, at least now, in a lot of senses, I guess the power could then go towards other things like bigger, more detailed explorable worlds, because like a lot of open world games are kind of empty. Or, you know, they've there's loads of buildings, but not, like, you can go into about 4 of them and shit like that.
Smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, so it's like, I think that is probably what they'd be able to do them with more power, is do more detailed worlds, add in better AI, improved physics, you know, things like that. And I think that's what it's going to come down to.
Ambience occlusion, volumetric clouds.
Yeah.
Awesome VR, so that you can be. Do you know what? Like, I haven't played on my VR for a while because I haven't had my PS4. I've had to get a camera for the PS5 and a adapter for the VR thing. And like, I'm thinking, oh, I'll play as soon as it's all set up. But at the same time, I was like, I want to make sure my missus is in the house while I do it, because when you're in there, when you got your fucking earphones in, you can't hear shit. Someone could easily enough come in the house and just stab me in the ass with a knife.
just you sort of open you take your headset off and you're in your pants, and then all your furniture's gone.
Yeah. You turn around, everything's gone except for the like thing you're using.
I mean, the fact it's out on the PS4, and I mean, I've just got the little video playing now. I mean, there's the quality of life things like Doom. You were just saying, it's things like the faster loading times. I've almost got used to them now. When you put something else on, like, oh god, that's loading slow. And it's like the PS5 for me. It's almost like a PlayStation 4 Pro Plus. Almost like a sort of super PS4 Pro that's just nice and quiet and loads quicker and stuff. But I mean, I'm torn whether to actually just say bugger it. You know, I love Final Fantasy VII, and just to sort of buy the PS5 one because it does look great.
Yeah,
but
the issue with the PlayStation 4 version, which is coming, is it out now or is it out next week? The free Splash. Well, you can't have the free PlayStation 5 upgrade, so you have to pay for that anyway. So it's kind of like
that I find is shocking. Like and that's been a big bugbear for this whole generation. Is
I think if
games
you
that
bought the
are coming
game
out.
I think if you bought the game, it will upgrade if you. But if you get it free with Plus, then you have to buy the PS5 version. I don't think that's too bad.
You're on about the free. Okay, that's I understand that. Is there like an upgrade fee, or do you have to literally buy the game again?
Buy it again.
See,
from what I understand, it'd be nice if
the trick there.
Yeah, if they said, well, if you bought it on PlayStation Plus, say it was like £20, just an arbitrary figure, I'd be like, do you know what, I'm happy with that. Yeah, I'll happily pay that. So actually get to keep it. It isn't tied to Plus, then it's mine. But
1 second. Coming in said, to be fair, going into buildings in games is a weird behavior. There are 32 houses on my street, and I've been in one of them. And I'll ask you this question: how many times have you gone down your street in a car shooting fucking rockets at the houses and the people in it? None. So that's weird behavior in itself. Well, I'm assuming you've done it 0 times. For I know you could be crazy. Yeah, sorry, wait, what was you saying? No, you can't remember? Sorry. I was saying, what was you saying, guys? The PS4.
Just saying it looks great. It looks great, but I was just about to say, but it's like a frigging port.
Yeah, it's a port of it.
To death of bloody ports. I don't care how good the game is, for Christ's sake.
This is coming from the biggest Switch fan in the world.
It's just like,
sorry.
I know these things are extremely expensive to develop, and there's long lead times, and there's COVID and all that. It's like, but oh, great, a remaster of this. How old's the game? You don't need it.
Yeah, I can understand. Like a lot of people say, you know, it's for preservation. Like preservation is great. Just make your games consoles backwards fucking compatible. There you fall. People can preserve their fucking games without having to have a remake and pay extra money. Like Nintendo bugged me the most with this. In the sense of like Captain Toad, when it came out on the Wii U, it was like 25 quid. When it came out on the Switch, it was like 40 quid. They didn't do anything, do they? Just give it a fucking high resolution.
Yeah, when that came out as well, it was like the pricing of it was like it was just like got praise all around, didn't it? Because it's like they said it's a I don't know, like 10-hour game. It's like a bite-sized thing. It's a full game, but it's priced accordingly. Like fair enough, and it was brilliant. And they're like, oh great, it's coming out on the Switch. Okay, yeah. You're going to pay full price for that.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And the DLC for the game is only available on the Switch. They made it for the Switch, like, so. A bit of a shame for people who's already bought the game, but don't want to buy the game again because they've already bought and played the game. It's a shitter, like. I guess it's different with Bowser's Fury because it came with the game. It feels different, at least. It isn't different, but it feels different.
Yeah.
Whereas Captain Toad, it came out and then like 6 months to a year later, it got DLC. You know what I mean? It's
more of a. I was more inclined to be, you know, when 3D World was announced, I bought that with one of those 2 for £80 voucher things because I bought 3D All Stars and then pre-ordered that at the same time. Because it had Bowser's Fury. We didn't really know much about it then, but I was like, do you know what? It's coming with something extra. I don't mind too much. It was less of a. Oh, for Christ's sake.
Hello?
Oh, I thought everyone cut out then.
You cut out when you were speaking that, Ad.
I don't know.
I think so.
It didn't for me.
Did you all just fall asleep?
No. It just all of a sudden went dead.
Yeah, it probably went quiet.
Yeah, that was very peculiar. Moving on from Final Fantasy then, because unless Yubellion got something to say, actually, because I don't think he did say anything.
I don't give a shit about Final Fantasy. But I do appreciate the music and melodrama from an outsider's perspective.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. It's a really nice looking game, but does not make it a good game. Then again, talking of really nice looking games, honestly, I think this looks like a fucking Disney Pixar or Disney looking game. Like visually, it looks like the Disney animated films, the CGI ones. Is it Kena? Bridge of Spirits?
Yeah.
Is that how it's pronounced? Kena, not Kena. Kena.
Your guess is as good as mine.
But I'm gonna call it Kena Bridge of Spirits. That game looks fucking really cool. It's like a 3D adventure game. Kind of kind of Zelda-ish, I guess.
It does look beautiful, doesn't it?
Oh yeah.
It is sexy. It really looks. And I think it's being made by like a really small team of people. Can't remember exactly how many, but I'm 90% sure it's really small. It's also one good thing about that. That's a proper game, if you know what I mean. I'm doing air quotes. A proper game. It's only 30 odd quid on the PlayStation 5, and you get a PS4 and the PS5 version.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it?
Didn't know that. That's nice.
Yeah, but see, and that's how all these games that are kind of like that kind of in between gen type of game, that's how they should all be handled.
Yeah, Cumberdane's is saying that you have little minions, he thinks, and kind of like Pikmin, and it did look like that. These little fuzzy things. Yeah, it looks really interesting. Like the powers looking like you seem to have magical abilities. Like it shows at one point the character jumping and you like without a bow and arrow, kind of doing the motion of doing a bow and arrow, and then like a magical bolt hits the person, like the enemies and stuff. So it seems to be all like magical stuff, apart from the staff, which comes from the staff she's using.
I mean, it looks gorgeous. I mean, unless it turns out to be a stinker. I mean, it looks like just my kind of thing, and I don't even know what type of game it is really. It just looks so.
Looks
beautiful.
like an action adventure kind of game with little minions on the occasion. With though, to be fair, I think
there'll be puzzle elements right then. Kind of like Zelda.
Reminds me of do you ever play Enslaved Odyssey to the West?
Yeah, I really enjoyed that.
That's really underrated.
I agree.
It's a really, really good game. Looks a bit like that, but sort of Pixar-y.
Yeah, I think it looks. I genuinely think it looks really cool. When they first showed it, I thought visually it looked alright, but like, I didn't really. I just thought it looks nice, but it's and then when I saw the last one, I was like, actually, looking at its eye now, it does actually look like it's gonna be quite a fun game. It looks like it's got like platforming sections, it's got action stuff. Don't know about the story. It looks really nice, and it's done by a really small team. So power to them.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen this game, Doom?
Just literally tiny bits of it. I mean, anything PS4 related, I haven't got like super high, like loads of opinion on, but looks cool. Amazingly, I think as these generations seem to be going on, I definitely edge towards this style. I just, I guess for me, if I want to immerse myself with something super realistic, I'll watch a film, like a film with actual humans in. Like I want games to be a little bit of a. I want to absorb it as a different medium, and so games like this is right up my alley because it's smoother on the eye. Do you know what I mean?
Sort of more fantasy, not fantasy in like pixies and stuff, but just sort of more of an escape to something you can't just look out your window and see, which a lot of games sort of increasingly trying to make everything too realistic.
Yeah, and it's just too much because you get. At the end of the day, you wake up and everything's real. Everything around you is realistic. You watch films and you absorb all this information, and that's great. And like I want a break from that when I play games. This is why Stardew Valley takes up so much of my game time, because you look at it and you effortlessly, can't even say that word, just take it in, and your eyes relax. And you don't have to focus on all these little details, and you don't have to take them all in. And like I just really like that real super smooth art style, super easy. It's really easy on the eye, and it's that it helps me relax. Do you know what I mean? And this is why Sea of Thieves is, again, I rate it so highly, because it's that kind of style. Again, it's just super easy, and that's the thing, is like stuff can be detailed. Stuff can have detail, because detail isn't about being able to pick, being able to see in every single individual hair. Detail is how dynamic the lighting is, and how and color depth, and black points, and all this kind of stuff. That's detail. I don't want to see, like, I don't want to like see the pores of someone's skin. It's not, and this game encapsulates that perfectly for me.
Yeah, I know, I get what you're saying. Also, if you look back at older generations, the games that tend to look the best now tend to be the more cartoonish ones. I look at Wind Waker compared to, say, Twilight Princess.
Ocarina of Time. Yeah, or Twilight Princess, yeah.
Same console.
Yep.
One looks better than the other. Fight me.
Yep.
And I'm talking about Wind Waker on the GameCube, not on the fucking Wii U. Everyone knows my thoughts on that one. The next game that was on there was Returnal. It looks really good. I actually like the look of it. It kind of looks like a big exploration kind of game with loads of shooting and shit on there. It kind of reminded me when I saw the last bit of gameplay of Control with the dashing around and stuff, because you do that quite a bit in Control. But it seemed more bullet hell-like. Like there's fucking tons of gunfire and that, and it looked really interesting.
Bullet hell into a 3D environment.
Yeah, the only issue for me is...
Really well.
The issue for me is they turned around and said, it's a roguelike, and I'm like, And before anyone says, what about Hades and what about Dead Cells, I haven't played Hades, so I can't say. But from what I've heard, there's so much that's gone into that other than it just being your standard roguelike. And with Dead Cells, I didn't get into it, and I've tried to play it like several times, so don't hate me. I will give her another try, probably sit down, just chill, but honestly, I didn't get into that. So, Returnal looks interesting. I'm just unsure of the whole, you die, the world changes. Like, I like to learn where I'm going and stuff. Like, I haven't got a problem with procedural generated, I can't fucking say it all of a sudden, generated stuff.
Yeah.
But it just it's kind of irksome in some ways when you're trying to, like, better yourself in the game and then everything changes and can't really learn.
I'm just watching the trailer. I missed that one on the state of play thing. I've just seen the actual gameplay, and immediately I can tell straight away I'm going to be crap at that. It's too fast for me for that type of game. I can just see straight away. If I was playing mouse and keyboard, but no chance.
You're too old.
As soon as you hit 30.
Yeah, it reminds me, it doesn't look like it, but it reminds me of, did you play Evolve?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It looks like that, where I got that and I think I played it 3 times.
Wait,
I really enjoyed the Evolve beta and I never played the game.
Yeah, I got bought it, as I wasn't expecting. I got bought it. Oh, cool, this looks amazing. Then my first session, had about an hour or so, and it this looks great. Played it again, and played it a third time, and just never. Wasn't like, I'm not playing that again. I just had no desire to ever play it. It looks like that, but fast. Like I know I can just see I'm gonna be crap at this, and it's gonna wear thin unless it's got some amazing, like Dead Cells. I loved it. It took me a while to get into, but once I was into it, absolutely loved it. But yeah, I don't know. I need to see more.
That's fair enough. What are you guys?
Well, the highlight for me was Deathloop from State of Play.
We're going to skip the Deathloop, are we? We're going to skip the rest of the games and jump straight to Deathloop.
I didn't think much of Returnal. It's not a genre for me.
No. I thought it looked quite fun, sir.
I do think they've adapted the shmup genre to 3D as well as anyone probably can.
No, that's fair enough. I'm not a massive fan of that kind of shoot 'em up, simply because I'm fucking awful at them. I'm just really bad at them. Like, Jeff would probably love this. For those who don't know, Jeff. It's Jeff. Next game on the list is Oddworld Soulstorm. I never really cared for Oddworld, to be honest. Abe's Odyssey, I just didn't really like it. It was, I don't know, it just wasn't fluid, and I didn't like the style of gameplay. It just wasn't for me.
I'm glad I'm not the only one who feels that way.
Yeah.
And Soulstorm looks more of the same.
I always really liked them on the PlayStation, the original PlayStation. I only bought Abe's Exodus, which was the second one. I was terrible at them. They required that like flashback style. You must be stood on this pixel, and if you use your long jump from a little bit too far, you'll overshoot and die and have to replay that whole bit. Or if you do it that bit too soon, you won't make the jump and you'll die and have to replay that bit.
Yeah, it reminds me of
chasing you, and
as well as flashback. You mentioned the old Prince of Persia game. Not like Santa Time, the old Prince of Persia. Like,
did you? I don't know if you play. It's got the possession mechanic, which I don't know if you've ever really seen that. It's really cool. Like if there's an enemy on screen, you can do a little chant, and as long as it can't get to you to stop you, possess it, and then you take that over in that screen, and it's really cool. But it requires a lot of it requires a thing I hate in games, which is like where it becomes a memory test. Like you can't make it through an area and do well in that area because you just happen to adapt to what's going on. You got to go in there and go, well, as soon as I walk past that a little bit, 3 big slug things are going to drop from the roof and kill me, so I have to run through that bit first. That's what makes it. That's why I never got on with it, because it required you, like there's a bit where you'd have to run through 5 screens and you'd have to time all your jumps perfectly and duck under something, and the only way you could know to do that is to repeatedly die in it. And it wasn't like that was part of the thing, like, oh, you should learn from your dying. It's just like, tough shit, learn what's coming.
Yeah, it's not for me. Next up was Crash Bandicoot 4 It's About Time PS5 version. I'm pretty sure that did look like a really big upgrade in some ways, but it's just Crash Bandicoot 4 It's About Time. I think the upgrade is free. It also adds like 3D audio support, adaptive triggers and stuff. Like those features, the adaptive triggers now is one of my favorite things about the PlayStation 5, I'll be honest. I was playing the game the other day, and like just the different feeling of the triggers when you try to do certain things, I was like, oh, this is really cool.
Excellent.
But there you go. It then showed a multiplayer game called Knockout City, which was also shown in the Nintendo Direct. So I mentioned it looked a little more interesting on here, where it showed some of the actual gameplay modes and stuff. But I think unless it comes to like PlayStation Plus or games with gold or Game Pass, it's normally something I'm going to play. I'm not going to buy it, like, definitely not.
No,
but it looks like it could be kind of fun in a throwaway, let's have a bit of a laugh kind of thing. Like, say, Mondays where sometimes we do the multiplayer stuff. It's like, oh, do you fancy jumping on some dodgeball? You know?
Yeah. Like, yeah, I don't really know what I think about this game. It kind of, I don't know why I'm getting this impression, but I just kind of feel like somebody saw, and I know they're not nowhere near the same games, but somebody saw Splatoon and thought we could do that with another like Splatoon. Like when that first idea must have been pitched, or when Splatoon 1 first came out, and before anyone really got their hands on it. Like it's a bit of a, like when I first heard about Splatoon, I didn't have a Wii U. I was like that's stupid. That's just ridiculous. And then I played Splatoon 2 and I thought it was amazing, and I can't wait for Splatoon 3 now. I totally get it. I kind of just feel like somebody went, that Splatoon idea worked. What if we, and that Ninjala game, that's quite fun. It's okay. Again, they looked at Splatoon and somebody's just gone, hey, somebody's done it with ninjas. Somebody's done it with paint. Let's do it with dodgeballs. Like it literally just feels like that. But I would put all the money in the world on the fact that this is not going to be as refined as Splatoon is. Do you know what I mean? So it looks like a thing. What's that?
Sorry, just I'm watching the trailer now. It looks just like what you're describing.
Yeah.
It looks like someone sort of tried to mimic the environments of Splatoon, but you haven't got the same mechanic that's making use of that space. So it's just really, it's like rather than shooting each other, you're throwing balls at each other. Just that's to be the pit.
No, I agree with you both, and the thing is, when when the Direct was on last, we watched it live, and we were talking about it then. I think it was like me, Matt, Aaron, Drummy, and someone else. I can't remember. Is it even them? Anyway, point is one of the first things someone said is it reminds me of Splatoon. Might have been Yubellion. I hope it wasn't Yubellion, because if I forgot Yubellion, I'll feel bad.
I think Aaron was there.
Yeah. So, I agree with both of you.
It's a thing. I mean, they're not charging a full price. It's 20 quid, $20, 20 whatever.
Yeah, $20.
It's $20, so it's probably going to be like $17.99 here or whatever. So, I guess for that money, it's okay, I suppose. But like you said, I'm getting it. If it comes out on Game Pass, yeah, fine, I'll try it. But yeah, no. Other than that, it looks like a. I don't want to say a cash
It's something
grab,
I'd give a
it's
try
not, but-
if I was able to if it was on Game Pass, like we were just saying, I'd give it a try, especially if I had a couple of friends to try it with. But it's not. It doesn't look like the kind of game I would buy. Then again, I said that about Splatoon when they first announced. I was like, what the fuck is this shit? And then I got Splatoon and I loved it and I played it a lot. Splatoon 2 again, I really enjoyed it. Splatoon 3, like I already said my piece on that. But you know, yeah. I'll play it maybe one day. Yubellion seemed to love it though.
Oh, what? No, I didn't. I really didn't.
Fair enough.
Fortnite's my baby. Nothing gonna replace it.
What about Destruction All Stars?
Oh, I've been playing that, yeah.
Next up is a game called Sifu. I actually thought this looked pretty cool. I don't know exactly what it's about because it literally just shows like this guy, like this young guy practicing some kind of kung fu or some kind of martial arts then. And then it shows him like entering a room, this long corridor, fighting with people and eventually like getting killed. And then he would go back into the room, but he'd be older and then he just keep getting older. And then by the end, he's like this old guy with this long beard. And I don't know. It looks like some kind of fighting game in some way, but I don't know anything about it other than that.
I vaguely remember this.
Sifu is a new action game that promises a unique take on the kung fu genre. It will literally turn the student into the master as each time the character dies, they revive slightly older and more skilled. There. So I wonder if one of the things will be complete the game without dying as a young, not very talented karate guy. Kung fu guy.
That sounds familiar to a game that's already out, doesn't it?
No idea.
No, I want to say there's a game that kind of does that kind of thing already, but
I don't know. I know there's like a lot of roguelikes where you die, you'll be permanently dead, and you'll come back to another character. But this seems a little different way. Like it says, you become more skilled. So I'm assuming the more you die, the better your character becomes at fighting.
I wonder how they're going to stop you. It must be like you. I wonder if you, as you progress, you learn something. You know, say if you do like 200 kicks as a 20-year-old, and then it levels up your kick or something. If you then die, you keep that leveled up thing, but you get to use it from the start, so you can progress through quicker. Because otherwise, if you get more skillful as you die, just kill yourself over and over and over in the first bit, and then just march on through as a super powerful boss.
True, but maybe the point of the game is to try and make it with dying as little as possible. I don't know. Yeah. They like Super Saiyans. Saiyans, yeah. Basically, every time they get close to death and revive and regenerate, revive, get healed, they become stronger. I think that was more in Z. I think in Super they kind of ditched that because Super's a bit shit compared to Z. So yes, I like the look of Sifu. Someone said it kind of gave me a bit of Die and Start Over vibe. I've never heard of that, so.
Yeah.
Next game was Hyper Light Drifter. No, it wasn't. It was Solar Ash, made by the people who did Hyper Light Drifter. I actually really like the look of this game. It looked really nice. It looks kind of like a 3D Hyper Light Drifter, visually to me. But obviously not pixelated. But it just looked really cool with the whole like. I don't know, it's like you were gliding on weird cloud things and stuff.
Rollerblades.
Yeah, but like across clouds and looked really interesting.
I think it reminds me of Journey. Well, not the gameplay, but just something about that, or grown home. Just that kind of low poly, sparse, colourful environment. It's nice.
Yeah. No, I think it looks pretty interesting.
Black hole.
Anything else you want to add to that?
No.
No? Okay, next up then
it
is Five Nights at
looks
Freddy's Security Breach. That actually, while I have no interest in Five Nights at Freddy's, this actually looked like more of a game than Five Nights at Freddy's normally. It looked from the trailer like there's a big area and you have to do something, whereas in the other games you just gotta look through a door and close it at the right times and stuff. So I don't know, maybe it's an actual game. I don't know.
Well, I thought the original premise was to keep track of security cameras.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly. And I think it's been like that for like the entire series, but this one looks...
This is more of a third-person action type deal, I suppose.
Yeah, it looks a lot more interesting, but still, I don't care.
No, it's for the kids.
Interested in this stuff.
The last game that was shown, well, not the last game that was shown, the last game in the list that is shown is Deathloop.
Please.
Deathloop looks shit. No, I'm joking. It looks really cool.
I was about to say.
The problem is it looks like it has stealth elements, which with Dishonored, like it was cool Dishonored what I played of it, but because I wanted to get like the best ending, which I heard you do by being stealthy and not killing a lot, I then didn't really want to play the game because I'm not good at stealth. I don't like stealth. So if there's going to be a lot of like stealth in this game, then it's probably something I'll skip.
It's hard to judge, isn't it? Whether, yeah, I mean, it's got. You're watching the trailer again now. It's you can tell straight away it's that type of thing. So it'd probably be much the same, but I don't know. Depends how they tie the outcome of it to it. Like if, yeah, it'd be a shame if like, oh, you know, don't get spotted and just kind of manipulate everybody into being in the right place gives you the best ending. It'd be nice if it was more dynamic, and that like someone like yourself who's like, well, actually I don't really enjoy stealth so much, I'd rather do it in another way, and you don't penalise by, oh, you got the bad ending.
Yeah, because it feels like a punishment then, doesn't it?
Yeah, and also it can be, if you're in a bit of a frustrating bit, you can find yourself playing in a way that you don't really want to. Like I like stealthing through those games like Dishonored, and that I like that way of playing, but sometimes there can be just a section like, do you know what, it would be nice just to run through this corridor, kill these 3 guys and jump out that window, but because you know that that's going to be penalising you at some point with a sort of a bad ending to that level or a low rating, you find yourself sort of slogging through and like, I don't really want to play this bit like that, but I feel like I have to.
Yeah. I think that's the problem. I think if maybe I just played the game and just didn't care about the ending and just played through Dishonored, however the fuck I felt like, I think I'd enjoy it a lot. Would have enjoyed my time there and probably finish the game. Because I felt like I had to play a certain way because like I wanted the best out of it. Kind of spoiled it for me then.
I love those games.
Like, obviously, that's more me, I guess, but...
I will add that the soundtrack to the Deathloop trailer is now available on the Spotify.
Yeah, yeah, but it looks like just my kind of thing, and by the fact that it's by them, it's Arcane, isn't it?
Arcane Leon, I think?
Yeah, just anything, like the 2 Dishonoreds and Prey, which is brilliant.
This is funny though, because this is coming to the PlayStation 5 exclusively, and it's technically speaking a Microsoft published game because they own them, don't they? Along with Bethesda and ZeniMax. That's mad.
I would assume Sony made a deal.
It was. I think it was made before the
they'll have to honour that deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they have to do that. So. And that's why I think like if a game's already been like game deals have been done in the background that no one knows what, I think they by law they'll have to honour it or probably pay some kind of clause, I guess.
Legal jargon. Let's not get into that.
Legal stuff. Well, Victor's only going to be here for like another 5 or so minutes. I was going to talk about the rumoured Switch Pro, but because we've only got 5 minutes, we've got a couple of questions from the forum. It's only from Jawa this week because only Jawa posted anything, so I'll ask these questions. Jawa says, as we've passed the 4-year point for Switch, what 3 games have been your personal favourites? Victor?
Xenoblade Chronicles. Is it called Deluxe? I can't remember if it's called Deluxe. I had it on the Wii. I know it's a port.
Definitive Edition, I think, isn't it?
That's it, Definitive Edition. That was one of those, like, much like Animal Crossing, where...
So his favourite... No. Your favourite game after you moaning about ports?
That's allowed, because I like it. If I like it, it's allowed. If I don't like it, you can all go fuck yourselves. That's pretty much what my business card says. It was one of those things that came along at just the right time because I had it on the Wii. I bought it knowing that it had a high rating. You know when you play something and you don't really fancy it? It was one of those, I bought it and I kind of started it when I didn't really fancy it and I just wasn't giving it the time it needed. I think I got maybe 20 hours into it. So this time I was like, it was the perfect time. So I was playing it in the mornings a couple of hours before work. So I got a couple of hours every morning on it. And I got so into it. I absolutely loved it. It's my standout game of last year, I think. And then I'd say Animal Crossing as well, not because I particularly liked it that much, but that's another one of those perfect game at the perfect time, and it really it was a really nice thing to be playing for that couple of months I played it. And what else would I say? It was 3, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm shocked you haven't said like Odyssey or Breath of the Wild.
I was just about to say, in fact, no, scratch Animal Crossing from that. I'd probably have to. I played Breath of the Wild on the Wii U, so while I like, it still feels more like a Wii U game to me. So I'd probably say a Mario Odyssey. Absolutely loved it. What else have I got?
I'm only mentioning Mario Odyssey because I know how much you like it. Because whenever people say, "Wow, this Bowser's Fury is amazing. We should make a bigger version," you go into the thread and go, "Well, that's Mario Odyssey, you dumbass."
It bloody is. People going like, "God, why don't Nintendo just make something like this?" It's like, that's what Mario Odyssey is. It's exactly what Mario Odyssey is. It is that game, and everyone's like fucking spunking their pants over it, going, "Do you know what? I hate 3D Marios, but if they did something more like this, I'd be all over it." Like, that's what Mario Odyssey is.
I've always said I'm not a massive fan of big open spaces in 3D Mario games. I prefer the more linear stuff like Odyssey, Galaxy, and things like that. So I will probably stand by that even after I play Bowser's Fury.
Furry.
Yeah, that's what I like to call it.
I can't think of it. I've had a lot of really, really good indie game experiences on it. So many. I've got a lot of games on there. What would it be? Something like, like Yoku's Island Express. Just something, not necessarily like my third best, but there's things like that. There's little games like that where I just sort of picked up on a whim, and they're really charming and they're perfect for the system. And again, the perfect game at the perfect time. Just really, really nice.
That's fair enough. Doom. I'm just going across the list of people on my screen.
Yeah. 3.
Well, if you could think of 3.
Yeah. Well, for me, it'd definitely be Pokemon Shield. I've had plenty of rants on what I think about not necessarily Pokemon, but the criticism Pokemon gets. Yeah, exactly. Like, and totally, if constructive criticism is absolutely fine, but as again, we'll talk about it later with the Pokemon Direct thing. Like, somebody tweeted a little while ago that no one hates Pokemon more than Pokemon fans, and it's a very true thing. But anyway, so moving on from that. So yeah, Pokemon Shield. I've put like a lot of hours into that, like 400 odd hours or something. So I've really, really enjoyed that. And I keep coming back to it. That's the thing. Stardew Valley's got to be up there. Which again is that little indie title that that is, it's just
the little indie title of the good.
Yeah. It's just been amazing. I'm just trying to think of a third one that third spot could be interchanged by quite a few things.
What I should have done is gone down the list of one each game, and then it gives you time to think for the next ones. That would have been a good idea. Silly Pedz.
Yeah, honestly, I'm only struggling to think of a third one because those two games were so standout for me. That third option, I've enjoyed so many other games that I could interchange that. So it's quite difficult. You know, I'm going to be super boring and just say Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. You know, it's super fun. You can go back to it at any time and have loads of fun with it. And yeah,
until Nintendo turns their online off.
Yeah.
What about you, Yubellion, dude?
Well, Animal Crossing, obviously. Closing in on the 700-hour mark.
Nice.
Mario Odyssey is still up there as well. Third would have to be Link's Awakening.
Oh, how did I forget that?
Oh,
That's a great
So-
one. Isn't it?
when I thought about how to answer this, I realised just how little I've shaken up my gaming habits on Switch. Opt in for one first-party exclusive on average per year. I hope with the arrival of Shining Pearl, Skyward Sword HD, there's No More Heroes 3, that the back end of this year will be much more varied for me.
No, that's fair enough. That was a quick list. At least.
There's
Link's Awakening is wonderful.
good games. I don't think I could actually remember them off the top of my head. I'll probably go to bed and wake up in the middle of the night in a cold sweat and think, oh, I forgot that game.
I was very tempted to quickly load up my Switch and just check what games are on there, just to make sure. My three, I genuinely am, I'm unsure. I like Overcooked 2 is a game like I put over 100 hours in to on there. I've played it through on the Switch. I've played it through on. I've been playing it on the PlayStation 5. I've played it on the PC. Just love that game. So that's got to be in my top 3 simply because of how much I've had fun with it. I even streamed playing Overcooked on the PlayStation 5 with the missus. I'll just be really boring and say Breath of the Wild because I love Zelda, even though I don't think Breath of the Wild is the best Zelda game, because it doesn't feel like Zelda in a lot of ways to me, because Zelda's about like this small little things, like, you know, I've got a great story, but it's got like a story you can follow along. You got these dungeons, you got these specific puzzles and that, and Breath of the Wild is kind of just like, oh, we'll just do a Ubisoft and put Link in there, and everyone's like, oh, let's come all over it. And it's like,
I think that is shortchanging it a bit, though.
It is. I'm not sure. I'm not saying it's exactly like a Ubisoft game. There is stuff to it, but I don't see why it's so highly regarded compared to any other open world game. Because personally, I don't know what it does different. I honestly don't. Apart from I can climb up a cliff. I can climb up a fucking cliff.
I must go now, I'm afraid.
Oh, we got 4 more questions though.
Oh, Jawa.
I'll just say Link's Awakening. There you go. 2 Zelda games on the Switch. Boom. What one game are you most looking forward to, Victor?
Breath of the Wild 2.
Okay. Doom?
It'll definitely be that.
Shining Pearl.
You?
For the sake of variety, No More Heroes 3.
I'm surprised with the Shining Pearl over the new Pokemon game. But we'll talk about that after. Do you feel... Okay, and here's another one from Java. Do you feel that the cost of new gen games will be accepted by the mass market?
Unfortunately, yes.
Or could more people stay on last gen systems in the current economic environment? ... Or perhaps people will buy the new systems but purchase fewer games.
Well, I think this generation has been so far has been so heavily dictated by scalpers. I mean, it's getting to the point now where governments are actually having to get involved now because of how bad the situation is. I know the UK government are looking into it. The American government are. There's a few around. I mean, it's getting it's quite serious if you think about it. Like we are being dictated to. It's you know, not to sound off, but like we're already dictated to by companies who are developing these systems and charging us for these systems, and they can charge us essentially whatever they want, whether it's more or less than what we would like to pay. It's up to them. They develop the system, but then that layer on top of it is, you know, you're getting people who it's just greed, who are just gobbling up all these systems, and they're preying on people's. Well, there's multiple problems there. They're preying on people's. You know, you got people who have really got that real strong, like that FOMO thing, that they must have it. But crucially, then you're not thinking about like the people who like literally need it. You know, like with my job, I see a lot of people who are autistic, and some of them, their life is technology, and you know, game systems is the only way that they can function, and they get so excited when they see a new system out, and then the parents can't get it, and then that parent or that family are dealing with horrendous meltdowns because that child has spent so much time.
I agree with you.
Up.
The issue you have is horrendous. Most people who don't understand autism or don't care will be like, well, your child's just a fucking brat. And it's like, sadly, never mind that they actually have a reason for the way they are. It is not their fault at all. It's just the way they are because of the mental condition, so to speak, then. And it's just like, well, they're just a brat. Yeah. And it's like, well, no, not at all. Autism is such it's quite varied, really, with how people are. Yeah. Like for Christmas, I wanted to get my son an Xbox Series X for Christmas, and he's autistic. And I had to then, one of my other children wanted a PlayStation 5. And it meant like I was able to get the PlayStation 5, but I wasn't able to get the Xbox for Christmas. So I had to then try and work out, do I hold the PlayStation 5 back so neither of them get it, and then like spite one child over the other, not spite them over there, but spite one child from not having his console, because my child with autism processes things like disappointment and things completely differently to your average Joe. So, you know, it was a really hard decision to do it, but in the end, we managed to do some kind of note we did in like an envelope, or like as if like of us really saying like, you know, sorry, but you will, like, it was like a kind of like a letter of, you will get it, it's just I've been unable to get it kind of thing. So like he kind of rationalized it as, oh well, I will get it, but you know, I just have to wait. And unfortunately it was okay, and I've managed to get him one. But it's very, very tricky, and I think people who don't deal with autism or don't know autism very well, or just think of the stereotypical side of it, may not understand some of the intricacies of a person with autism, you know, and dealing with things. Like I know you do, because your family who are autistic, and obviously your line of work as well.
Yeah, and that's the problem, is these scalpers aren't taking stuff like that into consideration.
But the thing is, they don't care. That's the problem.
Exactly, and there's only one way we're going to fix that:
shooting the scalpers.
Well, there's that. But like at the end of the day, as we know, there is only one way to deal with this kind of behavior, as well as you know, if you're not happy with a game or this kind of stuff, like with Battlefront 2 from EA and that, you vote with your wallet. So actually, I'm more in support of people not buying new systems. You should stay with, you know, you should, where possible, stay with your old systems, because that's the only way. These scalpers are gonna, like, at the end of the day, the only reason why the scalpers can charge the money that they do is because the demand is there. take the demand away, you've cut their legs off. That is the only way this can be controlled, unless governments start really locking down and really punishing them. But then you've got to find them. Then you've got to tackle that. It's a whole mess.
The worst thing about the scalpers
with your wallets
is I think we talked about this on a previous podcast. Actually, the worst thing about scalpers is the way they've set up bots and stuff to get access to things before the stock's been announced, or people have got it, they bought baskets, then all of a sudden it's gone, and then those people who are in the middle of a purchase have then got to find another 300 quid to then purchase a thing they were already just about to purchase before some scumbag stole it. Basically, it's like literally like I think an analogy is going into a shop as someone's about to buy a PlayStation 5. Near the counter, then someone walking past, taking out the trolley, buying it, walking outside to give me an extra 300 quid, you can have it. Same thing. Scumbags.
And that's what's going on. And so this generation's this is the first generation we've had where it's been. I mean, I know the Switch was in a bad spot in that situation, but this is a whole nother level. This is the first generation that I think, scalping is like, this is horrendous, and like so actually, there's just fight back. I
think it was pretty bad with the Wii for a while, but I think this has been the worst, definitely, generation where it's been like everything, even PCs. Look, I posted on the forum about helping my brother-in-law building a PC. And I think it was Victor who said, "Oh, that'll almost get you a graphics card." And then I looked at some of them, and like they were ranging from like £1,300 to £1,600. I was like, "Oh my fucking god!" And I think the retail price was like 500 quid.
Yeah,
it's like,
again,
what the
scalping.
When
those new 30 series cards come out, just the scalping on them was absolutely horrendous. And it's the same, like the technology, like say with the Wii and that, I could understand that as well, that happening around that time.
But with the Wii, it wasn't so much dictated by scalpers.
No, it was just being gobbled up by scalpers. But the problem is technology is like it. I could sit here from my laptop at home and set a bot up to gobble up all the Xboxes and PlayStations. Like you need no particularly special technology. It's something that is attainable from your own house with kind of, you don't have to have super high-end equipment to do it. The only way they set a bot up and to do it.
The only way they'll be able to get around it really is if consoles are only sold in store, one per person, and they're not sold online. That's not the only way, but that's a massive way to stop it from happening. But no one wants to go game.
But then the trouble is, you got the problem. Then they could hike prices because that's the only place you could buy it from.
Exactly. I mean? The shops could then fucking scalp. Also, you could do what I had to do before. I wanted to get a Wii something for the Wii for myself, but also my mother-in-law. And obviously I went down to get it from Game, and I had to go in and purchase it. Well, the missus went in to purchase the other one, so like if someone could go down as a group for one person, just buy a load of stuff, that kind of thing. So yeah, do you think people will stay with the current gens?
I'd like them to. Just to, it's the only way we're going to battle this problem. And like I said, there are a lot of families out there that this has been like hell for them because of it. So yeah, like I would implore people just to. Yes, I know it's really great having the latest technology. And yes, you might be able to afford it. But just because you can afford to spend more than you should on something, does that mean you should? Especially when you're supporting something as scummish as scalping. Like,
you're paying a ransom, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a reason that, not to get super technical, but there's a reason why the police or whoever deal with any form of hostage situation, there's a reason why they don't pay the ransom. It's because you can't give in to them. It doesn't work like that, because then they'll just keep taking. Like, the more you do it, the next time it happens, it'll be expected. You just can't do it. you know, and I get it. People's need for technology is massive.
I ain't paying no scalper. I wouldn't pay over the odds. I would just be like, oh well, I'll just wait. But obviously, not everyone's like that.
And I really wish more people would be like that. You know, at the end of the day, like, as I said, you know, I got a Series X. I got a 1X. Like, I will happily wait. If I got to wait another year or two, that is absolutely fine. I ain't buying one until they are readily available. You know, I'm not even buying one when they come into stock. Like,
I'm getting one as soon as I can.
Yeah. Oh, that's okay.
From like,
that.
But not from a scalper. I've literally,
No,
and
no,
by as soon as I can, I mean as soon as it's delivered, because I managed to get one through Smith's today. Boom.
Yeah, so that, sorry, I know I went on a bit of a rant, but that's kind of my take on it, and as you can see, I feel quite strongly about it.
Yeah, but aside from the scalpers and shit though, like, I think Jar was mainly asking about like the new cost of new gen games. Generally speaking, because they are RRP is 70 quid, I believe.
Yeah. Honestly, on that note, I apologize again for the rant. You know,
it's fine. This is the fucking podcast. This is the podcast rant.
The way that I interpreted the question was that way. But on that note, no, you should never, like. At the end of the day, Microsoft have come out with the best deal in gaming. Like,
we aren't sponsored by Microsoft, by the way, before anyone accuses us of it.
You can't justify, like, I can't justify that. Not when Microsoft are doing that, and even EA. Like, okay, you know, hate EA all you like. There's an EA access thing that you pay monthly for, and you get their games like brand new, like the day that they release. Yeah. So, like, there's no excuse for it, for me anyway. No excuse for it. If you want to buy collector's edition and it comes with loads of goodies and collector's bits, and you want to pay more for that, by all means, that's fine. But if you're just buying a base game with no fancy bits on it, and you know, and these prices are going up, like, Microsoft are proved that they can, you know, this is they can still make plenty of money doing this. Like, yeah, no, I absolutely hate the idea of spending that kind of money. It's getting ridiculous now. At what point is it a breaking point? You know, if you accept paying that money and it becomes the norm, next generation will be £80 a game, and you'll just keep going until eventually. Like,
the thing is a lot of people say game development costs go up. The game costs should go up as well, but the game development costs go up. Companies still make billions on their games. They also lay off people while still making their millions and paying their CEOs and whatever else millions. And then you have people defending them, saying the cost should go up. And then you have the normal edition of a game, a special edition of a game. You then have basically your game season passes, which cover any DLC that comes. So by the time you pay for your game and all the content that comes with it, you've paid fucking way more than their the asking price for a game normally anyway. It's shot up from before, the price of stuff. So yeah, that's just what I think anyway.
I mean, it is a bit of a loaded, multi-tiered question that Java posed.
Well, that's what he's saying. He did say, do you feel the cost of new games will be accepted by the mass market? Or it's like a B and C to the question. Or could people stay last gen for longer during the current economic environment? Or perhaps people buy the new systems but purchase fewer games? Obviously,
let me break it down. Obviously can't speak for the wider public, but if I were to make a prediction, I feel like it will be accepted on a case-by-case basis.
I personally think,
in terms of games,
the mass market mainly play COD and FIFA and other sports titles, and I think to get a yearly fix of their 1 or 2 games, they'll happily pay it, and the companies will still make the money and think that, well, we can release every game at that price.
Yeah, but from a wider perspective,
no, I know.
I'm talking about gaming community in general. Some titles like Halo, Assassin's Creed, Battlefield, God of War, etc. would justify the price. But others less so.
Yeah. Honestly, if you've got a PC or you've got an Xbox and you haven't got Game Pass, you're a bit daft, because the cost of it for what you get is like, I know it's basically like renting games. It's kind of like a Netflix service in a sense, but if a new game comes out, you get it day one. It's not like I want to have to buy Gears 6. I'll just be able to play that day one with my Game Pass.
Yeah.
So I will not be paying 70 to 80 quid for that game. No fucking chance.
And here's the thing. Yes, like you said, you are kind of renting / you're not really owning the game, and I get that. But all you got to do at the end of the day, as long as you get your play time out of it, it's worth the monthly fee that you're paying.
Yeah. And you could still buy the game if you want and buy it cheaper.
Yeah. Yeah. I was going to say, like, the other thing is, especially when talking about the first party games like your Microsoft developed games, they all will come out day one, and none of them will leave the Game Pass as a result of it. So all you got to do is wait for that game to go on sale. Let's say Sea of Thieves. I'll take this one for an example. I still haven't bought Sea of Thieves. I've been playing it. I've put like 500-600
an hour
hours
in
into
it.
that game. Yeah, I put 500-600 hours into that game, and like I still haven't bought it. I'm still using it off Game Pass. These 2-3 years later, however long the game's been out. But eventually, if I decide, it might go on sale for like a tenner one day, and I'll be like, yeah, I'll buy it. And guess what? I own it then, and I've paid a tenner for it. But I've had all this enjoyment, and I haven't had to fork out the original 60 or whatever it was for that game. So that's all you do. You just use your Game Pass, use your EA Access or whatever you got, and then eventually enjoy the game now without paying the especially the £70 thing is stupid. Like, enjoy the game now. Don't pay the £70. Just enjoy the game now. And eventually that game, in a year, sometimes 6 months, other times it could be 2 years, you just don't know. Eventually that game will go on sale. And
you can do the same with PlayStation now, but it's not
There you
quite it's not quite as good as Xbox in the sense of games like don't come out day one on now, and they do leave. But you could still get a similar-ish kind of thing. And also you can play PS2 games and PS3 games there with streaming and as well as downloading PS4
in
games.
Hindsight, if you knew that you were going to get 600 hours out of Sea of Thieves, would you pay £70 for it?
No, not 70. No chance. I even if I knew I'd get all that out of it, if the option still was have it on Game Pass or buy the game outright knowing that I'm guaranteed 600 hours, again, I'll be like, fine, play it on Game Pass, it'll go on sale and I'll buy it when it's like a tenner or whatever price, or I'll go into CEX and buy it physically if I really want it that bad. I can go and buy it physically for, like, again, cheap. That's how I personally do it anyway. At the end of the day, I've given the money every month. I'm still supporting the company. I'm not, in fact, they probably would take more money off me in the long run, but I get to play a wider range of games and explore games as a result of that. But yeah, and then when that game becomes available for a price that I'm like, you know what, the way I see it is like, I'll wait to play the game.
Yeah,
like, I'll play the game, wait to see how many hours, and then if I feel that game is deserve my money, if you see what I mean, like, to own it, I will pay the money to own that game then. So that's just how I see it anyway. That's my way of thinking.
Before I see what Victor says, because I know he needs to go soon, like 20 minutes ago.
I think he's gone.
Is he?
Oh, he left ages ago.
I thought he actually stuck around just for the questions. That makes sense why you haven't said anything. Anyway, what I was going to say is another thing that Doom does. I'm speaking for Doom here. Is he doesn't just buy games on the Xbox. So as he said previously and during his streams before. One of the games that he played on stream, which was on Game Pass, was a game called Monster Sanctuary. And Doom said he really enjoyed the game, but he might buy it on the Switch. So it's a way of also testing out games and then getting them on another platform. Like certain games you may think, right, this is better, this will suit me to play on the go. This will be a game I play on the train to work. If you could play it on the Xbox for an hour or two and be like, right, this is actually what I want, you could then buy it on a different console if it's on there. So it's useful for that.
Exactly, and if I do decide, actually, you know what, I'm happy keeping this on the Xbox, there you go, it's on Game Pass, and there you go, great. So I've achieved what I wanted to achieve. So that's my way of doing it. And actually, in the same way, not I don't want to go off on a rant too much, but that's my argument, weirdly, for buying digital copies of games. So like the Switch is a good one for me. So originally I started buying all physical for the Switch, and then out of wanting, I work nights. I work nights, and so I've got the pleasure of potentially being able to play games midnight release. So providing it's quiet in work for me to be able to do that. So like Sword was one of them. I was like, do I wait? I'm working that night. Do I wait and go home and be like super tired and then eventually go to game and then pick up the game, or do I just buy it digitally and I'm at work anyway, midnight it'll kick in and I just play it? That's what I did. But here's the thing, like that yes, I do like owning games physically. I'll buy the game digitally now, and maybe it's a false economy by me doing this, but and I know Pokemon's a bad one because of how much it will hold its value, but eventually, as that game gets older, it will eventually come down in price, and eventually I might be able to pick it up, or it might pop up on Facebook Marketplace. It was only the other day somebody was selling a physical copy of Shield for £20 on the Facebook Marketplace. Like if I find it cheap enough, or I decide, like, I'd love to just own this physically, even though I play it digitally. Like when the price is right, I'll just buy it just to say I physically got it, and then if then I've mitigated that problem of, what if the servers are turned off and I can't ever re-download the game? That's okay, I've got it physically. Do you see what I mean? Like, so it might be a false economy by me doing that, but it's the way I like to do it.
That's fair enough.
I mean, to backtrack a little bit, from the company's perspective, and specifically Phil Spencer and the whole Game Pass initiative, they've got to put a certain amount of trust in their players that if they're going to, I guess, make the most out of playing these games for free, try before you buy. You've got to trust that that person will kind of will repay that time in kind in the long term. Yeah, kind of tripping over words there, but
yeah, no, I get that totally. Yeah, makes sense.
Grum is asking who the new person is. It's Yubellion. Company just says Yubellion. I did say at the start, Grum, but you weren't here. That's your fault. Okay then. Well, moving on to the next topic of conversation, because that was literally the only post we had from the forum this week, whereas we had more last time from more people. Would you like to talk about Nintendo, the Nintendo Switch Pro rumors, or would you like to talk about Pokemon first, or do you want to end on which one would you rather speak first?
I'm happy for either. I'll let Yubellion decide.
I mean, let's go Pokemon. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So then, recently there was a Pokemon Spotlight. In the Pokemon Spotlight, they started with this really cool intro, going through like all the Pokemon games, cards, anime, film, like really well done. And I think that was a really cool intro. It was long, but it was interesting and it was pretty cool. So as a
I had to
bit
go
of,
back and rewatch that because during the live stream it was kind of spoiled a bit by the lag.
Yeah, I thought that was just me, and it turns out everybody was suffering with the lag with that.
Yeah. I think I was streaming at the time it was on, so I didn't watch it live. I've caught it later, maybe even the next day. So I didn't have any issues. So it was really, really cool. It's a shame that it was kind of spoiled live for everyone. But the intro was really cool, and then they started off showing some new footage of Pokemon. Is it called Pokemon Snap?
Yeah.
Yeah, so may as well talk about that a little bit, guys. Are any of you fans of Pokemon Snap?
Massive fans. Huge.
You
cannot wait for this.
Right.
No.
You
Not my
like?
cup of tea.
No, your cup of tea. That's fair enough, Yubellion, dude.
I mean, I never played the original Pokemon Snap.
I thought it was fun. I did play it not that long ago, and it was still enjoyable. Like trying to work out again these cool little pictures of your Pokemon that are around, like by throwing an apple or whatever the fuck it's called in the game at like a electrode to make it like explode and catch just before it actually explodes, and so it stops blowing up another Pokemon, so you get a snap of that one as well, and things like that, or chucking some fruit to them and it makes like I think if you chuck like in one level you chuck a fruit into the close to the water, the Slowpoke will walk over to it, start eating, and all of a sudden a Shelder or Cloyster, will bite onto the tail and turn it into Slowbro and stuff like that. It's like really cool, and I'm hoping to see some really cool stuff with new Pokemon Snap. Like it did show some interesting things, like from start, like it showed like more things the Pokemon can do. I'm just wondering how long it'll be, because the one issue with, like, I played it for about an hour when I streamed it like not long ago, and I think I did like most of the game. Like I know people who had the game, bought it, played it, took it back the same day because they'd finished it. The issue is it's short, and I don't know if Pokemon Snap is I don't know if it would endear itself to a long game length, because it's not one note. It isn't one note. It's very simplistic. It is not a massive amount to it. It's
very linear.
Exactly. It's on fucking rails. That's how linear it is. But I don't think it's going to be a long game.
I guess it hinges on like just how many Pokemon are they going to stuff into this.
Oh, they got to stuff them all in, haven't they?
And it's like
Sorry, that sounded really dirty.
I know it did.
I guess it's all about like how many routes there are, but essentially I think the point of this is you get a star rating depending on the quality of your image, the framing, your subject, what the activity it's doing. So like the challenge, I guess, is if it depends how you want to take the game. So this is the kind of game that I'm envisaging as it's about it gives you it's a simply mechanical game, or simple mechanics is probably better when you describe it. With simple tools, simple mechanics, but then they go now spend your time mastering it, and I think that's where the replayability is. So if you take it as and so there's a few ways to take it. You know, if you just want to play it, smash through it, take the pictures. Right, I've got those pictures. I don't want to master it. I just want to take the picture. Done, and you move on. As long as you fulfilled the basic thing that you want to do, yes, totally. I reckon 5-hour game maybe tops. But if you like, I think absolutely. You know, I think we all know how much I love Pokemon. I tweeted about it.
We do.
Like, I'm an absolute diehard fan. I love it. It is like the ultimate nostalgia for me, along with Transformers. But like, I absolutely like. I want to immerse myself in like. It's the same as like the Arceus thing that we'll talk about later. This isn't Pokemon lore as such, but this is you know, put it this way: if you ever spend any time like just reading the Pokédex entries, like the stuff that Pokemon do in the wild, these are meant to be animals. And I mean, if you're into like I love nature documentaries, talking, you know, looking at animals and their habitats and stuff like that, and really intrigued in how they operate and you know, how they survive and how they interact with everything else around them. If you're into that and you're into Pokemon, and you like me, I'm a nerd, and I will read the Pokédex entries to kind of get a sense of what these animals do. They're not just random, like they're not just random monsters that pop out of the grass and don't do anything else. Like for me, it's like they got a personality, they have a life, they have a I guess, you know, you could say they have their own individual lore, you know, in terms of how they live and everything, and how they've got to why they do what they do and stuff like that. This game indulges that. So if you're into that, this is where the strength is like little things like it. I think, but I think most people like most people know, or a lot of people know that Heracross and Pinsir are rivals. And in one of the like a few of the Pokédex entries, it's said that if they meet each other in the wild, they will fight and they will battle. And in this Pokemon Snap, they show a Heracross and a Pinsir battling, like wrestling each other, like the, you know, and that's what it's all about. If you're into the Pokemon wildlife, this game is to indulge that. And for me, that means going through it multiple times and like, because at the end of the day, I won't be able to take it all in one go. Not when I want to immerse myself in it. I will be focusing on all the details. So I will be going through it multiple times, taking the best pictures I can, fulfilling that side of things, but also observing what's going on and picking out all the, you can almost call them Easter eggs. You're picking out all those little dex entries that have popped up over the years, the little personality traits about these particular Pokemon. You get to you got an opportunity to go through multiple times and study. You become your own Pokemon professor in a way. You can study that Pokemon and what they're doing. So, like for a total Pokemon nerd, this game is an indulgement, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense. To basically describe the game though in like really simplistic terms. This is basically an on-rail shooter, and it's a high it's a high score game. It is literally a high score shooter, high score on-rail shooter. It's basically you gotta get your perfect shots to get as much points as possible, and you shoot the Pokemon with a camera. Yeah, it's literally an on-rail shooter. It's but instead of the Pokemon taking
Smash Bros. Melee,
yeah, instead of a Pokemon having a bullet through his face, you get a nice little picture. So you know, that's literally what it is. It's basically House of the Dead for Pokemon.
Yeah, and
without
when
the
you boil it
bullets.
down like that, that is literally like at its absolute basic what it is. So
yeah,
so and that's all it's meant to be. So what they're
like what Doom have described is something like really obviously pretty interesting, and I think for people who really like Pokemon, who like reading the Pokédex entries and want to see that happen like in the background of the game, and they're like, oh my god, there's a Drifloon stealing a child.
I was just researching that. Yeah.
Then great, like, but I think for some people who are just like, I like Pokemon, you know, they can get like, it's literally a high score game way, but it's obviously got a bit more depth in there for the diehard fans.
Yeah. It's either super shallow or super deep, depending on how you want to tackle it, basically. Yeah. And I mean, you clearly know where I'm going with this, but I totally get deep. Why people wouldn't want to. Wouldn't feel like this is worth investing in if they're not into that type of thing.
I think the only thing that will make the game better is if you had a light gun. I'm joking.
What about you? What's your kind of opinion on Snap?
I mean, you've really got to have a love for I mean, it depends. which generations are they covering here?
I'm
All
pretty
of them,
sure
I
I'm not sure about Sword and Shield, but I'm pretty sure I've seen like a Pokemon from every generation in there, including Sword and Shield actually.
I've definitely seen an Alolan Raichu, so everything up to Gen 7.
Yeah, I've
is
seen a
confirmed.
Alolan Raichu surfing.
So mostly hardcore fans will get the most out of it.
The hardcore fans will enjoy different kind of Pokemon game.
Yeah.
Stroke
Yeah,
on.
not much to say. I mean, it's it'd be neat if they
Any children who listen to this, do not check out what Strokeamon is.
yeah.
Don't.
I think it would be neat if they used the Labo camera.
Oh, that'd be really cool.
That'd be interesting.
One of those
could
really
look, couldn't
creative
they?
ideas that Nintendo choose to ignore.
Thing is, you could do that yourself. You could just stick the camera and could just use it, because it depends on the controls and how the yeah. That's a shame. No, it's a cool idea though, using the Labo. You should pitch it to Nintendo and see if they'll give you some money. Moving on from Strokeamon Snap. No. No. Moving on from new Pokemon Go? Snap. They showed the remake of Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl.
Only one of those is brilliant.
I liked the look of the game myself. A lot of people are really unhappy with it because they don't like the chibi kind of look, which I thought was pretty cool. And it's like, it's kind of like this is kind of keeping to the original, but changing it enough to make it modern, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, the original Diamond and Pearl graphics were chibi graphics. They just were pixelated, but they were still chibi. So
And I'm down with the art style. Yeah.
I think it looks cool as hell. Love it. Like,
Sorry, I just saw chat. Fucking hell,
what's going on with you?
Who the hell is Fisty?
Oh, you
Man, I've got to
haven't.
look this up.
No,
I
promise you,
right now.
I did it on stream once, and my reaction said it all. It's incredible. It's
Fisty.
something that will live with you forever.
Fisty
No,
cock
I'm
and
going to
gash.
weigh it up.
That's,
I'll weigh it up in my mind over the coming days.
Don't start me on Strokeamon. Stop. No. Fisty, Strokeamon, gash. Go, Pikachu.
and like, just on a side note, like, if you you know what, screw it. Do me a favor. Anyone who's over 18, go to Google Images and just type in Pikachu. Just Google Images, don't watch the video. Your dreams will now be haunted for the rest of your life. You know. So it is the stuff of nightmares.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
He's done it.
No.
It is the stuff of nightmares.
When Doom's awake, he's watching Pikachu.
Yeah.
Oh no. Anyway, where were we? Yeah, we were saying about the retro kind of look. It kind of had a chibi look because, like, when they shrunk down the character, like, it starts off with a normal, like, guy standing going, "Hey dudes, I've got a Pokemon in my pants." No, not in their pants, on their belt. And then it shrinks them down into like a chibi little sprite. And the only time you see him in a non-chibi form is in the battles.
Yeah.
So it makes perfect sense that it's done that and it's stuck with that kind of style. Like, I could understand if people would like it to have been more 3D, but I would not get the game because of it. And I probably will pick up Diamond or Pearl. I'm not sure which one, because I'm trying to remember which one I had before, and I'd like to get the opposite one, if that makes sense.
I'm definitely. I'm the opposite. I want to pick up the one that I had. So, and it's the same with Heart Gold and Soul Silver. I had Gold as a kid, so I bought Heart Gold. So this one, I had Pearl as my first Gen 4 game, so I will be buying Pearl now.
I had Silver, but then I got Heart Gold and Soul Silver. Yeah. But the thing is I'd rather go for the opposite, because it means then I can have a slightly different team, because I won't have access to the exact same Pokemon. It means that
that's understandable.
It gives you like a slightly different perspective. Also, it means that I'm not sure if in this game you get like different villains. I'm not sure if it's like Team One thing and Team Galactic in it, but there's one. Yeah. But like if it was like say the other one, Ruby and Sapphire, is it?
Yeah, Oras.
You had
Team Aqua and Team Magma.
Yeah, so if it was that, then it would make sense to go for the other one, because then you've got like the other story then. That makes sense. Right. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
What about you?
Yeah, well, Diamond and Pearl was divisive to begin with, right? But yeah, this was peak Pokemon for me. I love Gen 4.
Yeah.
I mean, what I really liked about it was, for one, at the time it came out, I hadn't spoiled myself. I hadn't seen any of the Gen 4 Pokemon. So that just made it a bit more exciting and engaging for me.
Gen 4 has some incredible Pokemon introduced, like
Absolutely.
both but just what they are and the design concepts are. Okay, there's always going to be like there's always a couple that are a bit on the naff side, but Gen 4 for me was like, I think that was like peak Pokemon design. I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like.
I mean, Dragon types, I think, dominated.
Oh, Garchomp.
Yeah. Just. Yeah. Secondly, the variety in environments, the introduction of a full day-night cycle.
Yeah.
The soundtrack, which I find to be the best in the series.
Yeah. I love the underground system. That's coming back. That's amazing. Secret bases. I know that was Gen 3 as well, but still, like, and that's the thing. I'm really looking forward to seeing how they implement the underground bit and the secret bases. Like they've got an opportunity to have secret bases as like just like you can invite your friends over, and I know you could kind of do that before, but now with the functionality and the technology we got, I mean, this is Nintendo. We know how awkward they like to be, but you know, like I really like the idea of, you know, you have your secret base, you can customize it, and you can invite friends over, or like Animal Crossing style. You either can visit the island or you can visit their dream code and do the same thing just without affecting things. And I kind of like the idea of like having, you know, I kind of, it'd be really cool if you just want to hang out with friends, or if you want to trade with your friends or battle or whatever, you can invite them to your secret base, and you know, maybe there's activities you can do with them other than those things. Other than that, like you can like have, I don't know, a code or whatever for people to visit it anyway. Do you see what I mean? I think there's some legs there.
Sorry, I'm just thinking of Stroke'emon. Like come to our secret base and stroke my Dickachu.
Oh no, you barely
it's all going downhill.
Yeah, like I've. The thing is that when I've played the Pokemon games, I've always enjoyed them. I don't think I've ever enjoyed them as much as Gen 2. Gen 2 was for me the peak. Like played through the game, I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. Beat the Elite Four, and then oh my god, I'm going around Kanto killing everyone there. Not literally killing everyone, but you know what I mean. Yeah. Though usually when I make a Pokemon fit, I always pretend it dies, because if it's fainted, it'd be easier to catch. If it's dead, there's no point catching him, is it? You don't want a corpse in a ball. Go dead, mon! Corpse lands on the floor. And in the anime, they catch the Pokemon when they're fainted, because it makes sense.
Yeah. But no, I think Yeah, I think, and thing is, though, for me, in terms of if talk about lore, Diamond and Pearl were the peak when it comes to Pokemon lore, because they introduced Arceus, they introduced Palkia and they introduced, I don't want to, without sounding stupid, they introduced science into, like, in its own way. I'm fully aware, like, there's a lot of like holes in their theory, you know, in Arceus just appearing out of nowhere and doing stuff. I get that, but they introduced a version of science into the story, and that's just huge for me. Like,
religion.
Yeah, like that was massive for me, because like I'm so into science, so into physics as well, very specifically, and space and everything that comes with it, everything to do with the cosmos, and this just ticked every box for me. This was great, because it's great having stories that are based on like fantastical, you know, kind of legends and all that kind of stuff. But this had like I mean this with the smallest pinch of salt, but this had a scientific logic to it. If you see what I mean, is that they put, it wasn't just these stories aren't just based on rumors that have kind of rolled over the years. They are talking about the creation of the universe, and do you know what I mean? This isn't just like a.
And they kind of go into that more.
Yeah.
With the movies.
Yes. Yeah.
As well. Yeah.
So
Diamond and Pearl didn't. It wasn't necessarily like. Yeah.
And I just hope like they can explore it. Like, it'll be interesting to see how the thing I'm going to be very interested to see is how they introduce, assuming they do, how they're going to introduce both Arceus and Dialga into things. Are they going to do it like they did with Oras and have like you just play Diamond and Pearl like the games as they were, and then they just kind of cram it all into like a few hours worth of like post game at the end? Or are they gonna, like, is this essentially a Pokemon Platinum remake with Diamond and Pearl differences in Pokemon? Because they've already said like the Pokedex, these Pokemon that have appeared in the trailers, which were only available. I say only available. They were available in Platinum, and they weren't available in Diamond and Pearl. Yeah. So does that mean it's going to be more of a Platinum thing? Oh yeah, definitely, because
people are hoping that it'll have it'll be Diamond and Pearl, but with the end game content of Platinum.
Yeah, and the Pokedex.
Best case scenario.
Yeah. And obviously, I don't know how they're going to fit Arceus into this, but there's like an Arceus episode, isn't there, which they could fit in and everything. So
I mean, they may even take Arceus story further.
I really hope they do.
Now that they're
I think the thing is, the company that's making this, I think the only thing they've done is Pokemon Home.
Yeah.
So I don't know
if
they'll have that extra stuff, because it seems like it's like a big project for them. Like, a lot of people are saying like, yeah, this is obviously just not an easy, but like a quickly cheaply done remake. If that maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I wouldn't know, and I don't care. But my thoughts are, if it's from like, I know it's got like one of the people behind a few of the Pokemon games, I think, like heading it all up. But if it's not a new company, but if it's like the first tidy game, then it seems like they wouldn't be too ambitious, if that makes sense. I think this is maybe a stepping stone to maybe they'll do something different, and then Pokemon games.
This studio has Yakuza 0, Code Vein.
So they have done more stuff. I thought that people have mentioned Pokemon Go. If they've done Yakuza 0 and stuff, then fair enough.
Yeah, they've got
They've got chops.
Automata.
Yeah, if they've got if they've done Yakuza, like fucking Yakuza is awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, about anything else but Yakuza 0, damn.
They've got game development chops, which is okay. And you know what? Like, we can remember is Pokemon is the biggest kind of media franchise in the world, like by a none. There is nothing that touches it in terms of the revenue it's produced over the years. When something makes that much money, you can totally understand why the Pokemon Company, Game Freak, and everyone involved with the money side of things, why they'd be very, very protective of that IP. So there's a lot of people complaining about how it's almost a little too faithful, like graphically and all this kind of stuff. That's all crap. I hate that argument, because the way I see it is, like, this was like, although Ilk have clearly got game development chops if they've done the Yakuza games, and that's great. But for Game Freak to trust, this is the first time they've trusted not the first time, I guess, with a Pokemon game, but it's the first time they've trusted a developer that's not them to develop a mainline game. And I it's a remake of the mainline game, but it's still a mainline game. This is the big release for this year. Like this is the big one for them, and they are completely trusting. All right, they were watched carefully, I'm sure. So it makes total sense why they would do this faithful remake, because there is no need for doing anything super crazy.
Well, the director of the original games has returned to help
to oversee it, which is great. And that's like this is in a way this is Ilka's way of proving to Game Freak that they know what they're doing, they can do it successfully, and they won't take the Pokemon franchise for granted, which makes me think, as long as this does well in sales, I think we can see Ilka getting on board with other remakes and other things, and maybe they will be allowed to have a bit more.
I think he'll do well in sales, simply because it's a Pokemon game.
Yeah, he'll do well.
The thing is I can understand why people are unhappy with the look of the game. I get what you're saying. Like, for you personally, you think people, it's a lot of crap. But I can understand why people would want things to be improved upon. Because a lot of people, when it comes to remakes, want a remake that is like a proper fucking remake, not just like a slightly enhanced version. But this seems to be a bit more than just that anyway. But for me, I think you want something that, when you remake something, you need to like remake it in a way that captures the essence of the original. If you remake it like, say, 13, and it's basically, it loses the charm, it loses quite a few of the other things about it, then you're just remaking the game but worse. You may as well at least try and keep the spirit of the game when you're remaking it. Kind of like they did with Crash and Spyro. It's remaking the game, keeping the spirit of the game, and it remains faithful, as well as bringing on new people. And I think that's the good thing about this game. It's the same kind of thing.
Those people who aren't on board, who are complaining about the current art style, probably didn't like the original games to begin with.
Makes you wonder.
Possibly.
I mean, Diamond and Pearl were divisive at the time.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I've always been alright with all the Pokemon games. Like, I prefer Gen 2 to them all, but I don't think they do enough for me to improve on the formula. Enough since Gen 2. Like, Gen 3 was worse, where it was like, let's take away the day and night time cycle. I was like, what the fuck?
I think for me, like, before seeing this, like, I'm totally happy with this art direction. I love the fact that it's showing respect to its roots. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Before seeing this, I've always thought we'd get the Diamond and Pearl things. I think it's the worst kept secret ever. I actually was like, in my head, I was kind of hoping for the Diamond and Pearl remakes to be in the style, when I say style, graphical style of Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, because I thought they were like that that is a proper remake, if you know what I mean, in terms of the way that they've completely changed up the style. They've moved away from the chibi type thing, and they've moved. Like, I actually thought that's what we were going to get, that style, and that would have been great. But like, I'm not disappointed at all by this. I just wasn't expecting this. I can totally appreciate this style. I just thought before viewing this that we were going to get that Let's Go art style, which I would have loved just as much.
I personally, my thoughts were we would get something similar to what we got, and for this, and I think, but I wasn't sure when we'd get these remakes or when we'd go to get Let's Go Johto. Because I think the next Let's Go game will be Johto, and I think they'll have, like, I don't know, and up to a certain point they'll have a remake. They'll keep the remakes of the older games in the same style of this, and then they'll at some point release Let's Go versions later down the line that follow the Let's Go visual style and gameplay style as well. And hopefully, like I said, it's Let's Go Eevee, Let's Go Umbreon and Espeon.
Yeah, and you know what? That actually, what you're saying makes a lot of sense, because, like, if we boil this down,
you got 3 different styles of Pokemon at once, and every 3 years you go like boom, 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 or however many years. You know, it just makes sense business-wise, I guess.
Yeah, and it makes sense. Like what you said makes total sense as well, because if you think about it, like the jump from Red and Blue to Fire Red and Leaf Green, it was the same art style, just the graphics were refined, but that was essential. I say that was it. Obviously, they had the improvements from being the later generation, but taking all that out, it was just, when we're just looking at visual, those games were a refinement of the previous style. Heart Gold and Soul Silver was a refinement of Gold and Silver. It's not doing anything crazy. They weren't changing up the formula graphically or visually. They were just cleaning it up. They were using the technology they had then to make it look better. And I'm simplifying this for this particular reason, and that's what they've done now. Like, I don't get people complaining, because they've done it for Heart Gold and Soul Silver. Everyone loved those games. They've done it for Fire Red and Leaf Green. Everyone loved that. Or I guess there is that argument that for Oras they did change up the style and made it more like a 3D thing, but they still kind of kept it chibi-ish. It just wasn't as much as as thing. But again, the point is, again, they took the technology that they had then and they cleaned everything up, and they made everything 3D, which was which was big. And this is all they've done now. They've literally just gone, well, why would, like, we're remaking something that was loved by many people. Why we're not gonna change that. We're just gonna clean up. Like, we're gonna take the technology we've got now and make that, like, keep that style and just make it like, develop it for today. And that's all they've done. And like you said, the Let's Go games are a whole different arc that I'm confident. Like, on a side note, I'd love for next year to be the Let's Go Johto games, to give Gen 9 an extra year's worth of development. I'd be more than happy for that.
The problem with Gen 9, the proper generation games is they can't delay them.
No.
They can't. They
There's
literally
too much riding on it.
It's tied into the anime, the films, everything. So they literally can't delay it. If
no,
it has to come out like at the perfect time for the anime, and so it all rides on there. So it's like they can't. The issue is if there's like, well, this is I know they sit down around their little table and they all go, right, this is the date that this is going to happen. They have to stick to that date, and because the anime and that's going to carry on and it's going to be in front of the games,
Yeah, and the cards and everything. Yeah, it all ties into it.
They have to stick to the deadline. I believe they've never delayed a Pokemon game.
No.
Yeah.
There you go.
There's a lot to rein in.
Yeah. So, but like the other, like anything like spin-offy, I guess, that could be done differently or made to wait longer and stuff. And so at least it means
Gen 9's going to be going to receive more more development time by
Gen-
default. Pokemon Legend.
Gen 9's going to be based on another country in Europe, but that country is going to have Wales in it because the Galar region fucking didn't. Having sheep across your country does not Wales make.
No.
I didn't see a single anime. I didn't see a single character shagging those fucking Mareep. I know it weren't Mareep and they were called Wooloos, but still, Mareep sounded better because it sounds close to sheep.
They feel like it's snubbed.
It does though. If you look at the Galar region, it literally looks like here's the UK. We'll fucking cut off Wales and there you go.
Although Northern Ireland isn't there either, is there?
No, it's not. But that could be one of the islands. I've not played the DLC. Because I believe the Isle of Armor and Isle of Breeziness is two different islands.
Yeah,
I can't remember what they're called.
The Isle of Armor is the Isle of Man, I believe, meant to be, and the Crown Tundra is Scotland.
I thought Scotland would kind of cater to in the game. With
Edinburgh, I think at least.
Yeah, with some of the stuff that like I don't think I know. Definitely no Wales in there. I'm not that bothered, to be honest. It's a fictional place, but you know, if you're gonna base it on the UK, try and they should have had a really cool dragon based on the Welsh dragon in there.
Oh yeah.
I was gonna say, you know what? They definitely missed a trick there, didn't they? Like, think about it.
Like the dragon that you fight, spoilers, the dragon you fight in the story part, they could have based it on that. It would have been cool as fuck.
Yeah.
Because, even if you don't like Wales, the Welsh dragon is cool as fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also the Loch Ness Monster. There was no...
Yeah.
No,
it's true. They could have made a new Lapras.
They could have made a legendary based on that myth. And the whole story.
They probably didn't simply because of Lapras, to be honest.
Instead, we've got a grass monkey as a mythical.
Yeah.
Just opportunities all around, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could even have some kind of bulldog.
Yeah. But yeah, you know, I think
Is that actual British bulldog, not the game where you run back and forth and grab and sling them? I can't remember the time.
But yeah, no. So yeah, so I'm very much looking forward to the Diamond Pearl remake. Just out of interest, like I say, I'm getting Pearl.
Why is Cumberdane's talking about his penis again?
What?
I was going to say, what version are you looking to get? You?
Well, the same version I had originally, which was Pearl.
Ah, lovely, good stuff. Yeah.
I don't know which version I got, so I'm gonna have to look around, find the game, and then buy the opposite. Like I said, I would rather play the opposite version. So it means I can't, because I know me. If I get the same one, I will definitely stick to the same team because I want to play and it's like, what's the point? I may as well just play the original fucking game. You know?
What starter would you guys looking to go?
What's the starters again?
Piplup, Chimchar. Yeah.
And Chimchar, yeah.
Either Piplup or Chimchar.
Okay.
Piplup.
Yeah.
With originally.
Yeah, I was going to say
Doom always goes for water types, so
I always go water types, but it just so happens the Piplup line, and especially in Empoleon, is my joint favourite starter up there with the Squirtle line. So
That's an interesting combination of elements being water and steel.
Water, steel, and Empoleon just looks amazing. Like it is one of the best looking, best designed Pokemon I think we've had. It looks great. Yeah, love it. Although I got to say, Torterra is a strong looking Pokemon. I've always liked Torterra, the way that looks as well. But no, I'll be going Piplup. So yeah.
Piplup evolves into the villain from Sekiro.
What?
I have no idea. Yeah, like I think my starters, I think I went Bulbasaur, Cyndaquil. What's in the 3rd gen? Oh, I went
Mudkip.
I went Torchic, and then I think I went. I think basically 1st gen I went Grass type. I think every gen after I went Fire type, and then except for Gen 8 where I went Grass type because I liked the monkey the most.
Cool.
Basically, I go for whichever one I like the most, looking, and then half the time I'm like, yeah, this is a cool Pokemon, and then it evolves into like something really shit, and I'm like, damn, I prefer that evolved version. Why didn't I go for that? But then at the same time, I don't know what they look like till after I've played the game, because I tend to avoid the thing. Like even with Gen 8, I was like, I don't want to look at them, but I think in the end I did. I can't remember if I did or didn't, but I was like, no, I didn't. I think I found out in game, which is why I was like, oh, I'm glad I went for the fucking monkey, because you got fucking drums, man. It's like a fucking rock star. Moving on. There is another Pokemon game to talk about. It's called Pokemon Arceus.
Yes.
It's called. I think it's called Pokemon Legends Arceus, isn't it? Or is it just Pokemon Arceus?
Pokemon Legends.
From what I saw of it, the game looks okay. The footage I saw, it looked pretty ropey, but I don't know how early development there is for starters. My issue is it going to run badly on the Switch? Is it that going to be the best?
It'll be a Breath of the Wild situation, I think.
Yeah.
The Breath of the Wild was quite wonky. It's not great.
It's choppy on Wii U.
Choppy on the Switch.
To a degree.
There was literally
better than the
times.
Wii U.
Yeah, it's definitely better than the Wii U, but there were times on the Switch where I'd be playing it and the game would freeze up for like 5 seconds at a time. I thought, oh great, my fucking Switch has crashed. All of a sudden, I'm like fucking dead because like the moblin have killed me.
I think. Do you want to hear my tinfoil hat conspiracy theory here? Well, I say conspiracy more than just theory.
I think I know where this is going.
If this is going to lead into the next topic, keep it till the end.
Well, all I was going to say is they've said when this game's coming out, and they've said early 2022. Early 2022 is usually any time between January and March. Is it
early 2022 was early fiscal year 2022, which would be March to summer.
Yeah, and March next year? What's the what birthday have we got? The fifth birthday of a certain console, isn't it?
Switch.
And there's as you said, there's talk of I've heard on the grapevine of potentially another revision coming out.
Mid-gen refresh.
For 5 years, it shouldn't be a mid-gen refresh, be a new fucking gen.
Yeah, but this is Nintendo. This is how they work. What would sell a refresh? You know, a big IP with
Breath of the Wild 2
with the words optimized for that whatever they one of the. I'm wondering if it's all lining up. I'm just like,
it could be
tinfoil hat conspiracist, but I'm wondering if
it makes sense. If the rumors are true and there is a Switch Pro coming, then it makes sense that if this comes out at the same time and it runs better. The issue is they shouldn't make it so that it runs perfect on the Switch and better on the Switch Pro. Like my issue with the 3DS, for example, and the 3DS Lite or whatever the fuck it was called, I can't remember.
The new 3DS.
New 3DS was Hyrule Warriors came out on the 3DS. If you didn't have a new 3DS, it would run like arse. If that is the case with Pokemon, people are gonna be pissed, man. People are not going to be like, oh fuck, I gotta fork out another 300 fucking quid now, just so my Pokemon game doesn't fucking run like a turd with legs.
It's got to be. Put it this way: whatever the like, this new Pokemon game is ambitious. Legends Arceus is ambitious, and realistically, people are very quick to attack Sword and Shield and talk about, oh, look at the trees, oh my god.
No, I get that. I'm not attacking the game.
Yeah.
I'm talking about me personally, because I mentioned some of the issues straight off the bat. Like, I'm not attacking the game, but obviously there are concerns with it, because like even Sword and Shield was choppy at times for me, at least, especially online. My issue is like I want a nice smooth game, and I'm hoping for this to be like a lot more interesting than Sword and Shield. Like I'm not a massive open world fan game, but I think Pokemon would be suited to it, and I'm hoping that it'll kind of expand on the wild areas a lot. But somehow they'll optimize it better so it doesn't act like a janky shit sometimes. Yeah.
Put it this way, again, people are quick to kind of to bash Sword and Shield, and people looked at the wild area and looked at the trees in the wild area, and everyone, fine. But it was like, I think this idea of this open world game, this has been this has been in the work for a while. I'll put money on this. That this they've been working on this for a while, but they.
And this is what everyone have wanted, haven't they? This is
and that's
what
the thing
everyone
is,
wanted.
put it this way, again, you've got the world's biggest media franchise, or whatever you want to call it. You've got the world's, biggest one of those, and you've got the community all calling out for that style of game, that open world game. Like, it's a massive risk for one to jump straight into like a generation, a whole, like, let's just put it this way. Like, it'd be a massive risk for them to jump straight into a brand new generation, a big open world. So what they needed to do was proof. They needed a proof of concept. They needed to see if the community would take it on board. And if you think about it, like those wild areas, that first wild area, just the standard Sword and Shield one, that was a basic proof of concept. Yes, there's a little bit bare and environment and that's fine. I'll get to that in a sec. It was a proof of concept, and if you look at most of the reviews for Sword and Shield, one of the plus points that most people bring up is the wild area. Everyone seemed to like the wild area. Yes, it had funky looking trees. I don't care about trees, but apparently some people do, and that's great. It's got funky looking trees, and yes, you could say it's a bit barren and it looks a bit thin. That's great. But then they released some DLC. The Isle of Armor DLC, like, took the wild area and just made it more. They introduced like different environments, and they added so much more life and color and texture to these environments. Yes, it's a little janky, especially when we walk through that forested area. The frame rate can kind of take a bit of a tank.
I have no idea about the DLC.
No, well, yeah. So
the trees still shit though. If the trees are still shit, I don't want to play the DLC.
That's the thing is, no, the textures were improved. Like, everything was improved.
That's shit.
And they added more. Like, they added more. So, like, even to the point of, like, they added like flowers on the floor and stuff, and it become more colourful. It become more alive. It become just more textured, which is something that you want. And again, that open world area. Then they took it to the next level, and they started introducing like buildings and kind of more settlement areas, and with the Crown Tundra. So that took the Isle of Armor and dialed it up again. They introduced like the snow biomes and the dynamic, the way the snow was falling on everything there. They had there's a little settlement area with a few like a little town. Which again was, you can go into the buildings and stuff, like, but still be in the open world. You're not like leaving the open world just to go into a building. It's all proof of concept. And they proved that it worked. And then and again, then you go to the luscious green area, and it's even brighter than the Isle of Armor, and they've added more to it. It's all proof of concept. They just needed to make sure, right? Okay, we want to jump into this, but we need to get this right. And they knew, they're not stupid. They knew that people would bash the way the wild area trees look on Sword and Shield. They knew that. They knew that those trees were janky, and they were fine with that, because they were like, that's fine. This isn't the finished thing. This is the stepping stone we need. And they proved that they could improve on that with the DLC. And everyone, I think the overall perception of the DLC was it's really good, and everyone loves the graphical and texture improvements they've added onto those DLC. So then they've gone, great. So we now know we can make it work, and we know that the community are kind of happy with the way it's going, and they can see these improvements that we've made in texture and things like that. Right, now let's implement it into a game that's still not a mainline game, but something that we can build a series on. Clearly they could do a series of this, and that's what they've done. It's another proof of concept. I'm telling you now, I don't know if it'll be Gen 9 or Gen 10. At some point, this formula will be moved to the generation, but they're doing this in increments. It means that we are going to get games that maybe are a little jankier while they work out the formula, but it's only because they care so much. Oh, this is my theory: is that they care so much about making sure they do not piss off the community. Like, if they go and release Gen 9 all open world and is janky as hell because they haven't kind of tested the theory, like, that would be a disaster for them. If Arceus fails, if Legends Arceus fails, it would be annoying for them, and a disaster to an extent. But it's not a mainline game. They've saved that mainline game. Do you see what I mean here?
Yeah,
It's all concept, and this is just how they improve on it. So I'm really looking forward to how they're going to do it. I'm expecting it to still be, it's going to have a bit of jank. I've got no doubt about that. I mean, the footage that we saw on that stream, it said, on the bottom of the footage, it said, this is early development footage. This is not the finished product. So, I won't talk about the toxicity levels of the community. I'm not that's for a whole other thing. But
the toxicity levels of the issue you have is most any game that's popular has a bunch of arseholes who constantly deride it, and that's the way it's always going to be, because people like to fucking complain.
And sadly, it gets views. If you see the YouTube thumbnail and it's like, Pokemon is trash.
With a stupid face, stupid YouTube face. Gotta have stupid YouTube face.
People click on it and it's stupid. But anyway, they put it in the small print on the bottom of the screen. Early development footage. This is not the final thing. So I really liked what we saw.
I liked what we saw, but I just think it was still a bit more barren than I expected. But it's also the founding of the is it Hoenn?
No, this is
Sinnoh.
Sinnoh, yeah.
Sinnoh, sorry, yeah. So it's interesting. It's a little strange though, because you're going there with Pokemon. You're going to be using Pokemon from other regions, and that's fine. Some of the Pokemon from regions... Some of the Pokemon from regions that come after the... I'm going to explain this. Some of the Pokemon come from Gen 5 onwards. And in the earlier generations, it's like you don't really know about these Pokemon. It's as if they weren't discovered or something. If that makes sense, it just seems a bit weird. It should have been Pokemon from Gen 4 and below, I think, personally. Because it's in Pokemon, the first game, it kind of implies it's there may be other Pokemon in the world, but we don't know what kind of Pokemon they are. And this is the first game. This set not fucking a couple of 100 years ago. So how the fuck are people also they go in there with these Pokemon from other regions. Yeah? How come no one have bred these Pokemon in the wild there? Or bred them there and then released them into the wild? It kind of makes no sense how none of the Pokemon from later generations are in that area. So I don't know. It's just it's like it's not really a problem. It's just a kind of observation on my part. Company said, was the wild area like the world map equivalent? No, it was kind of like a small open world semi-open world section. It's kind of split into two parts via a small river which will go over a bridge. Like one area higher level than the other. Generally speaking, it's kind of like just a big field. It's like a Hyrule field of the area, but there are still normal routes. Basically, you go from the starting town on a train to a new area. There's the wild area, then you go into a city, or you can go to the other part of the wild area where there's another gate to another city. And in those cities is like the first city takes you around like the first few routes where there's like the first 4 gyms, and then the second city is the second 4 gyms, I think. And the final area, as in like the Elite 4. Except for it's not the Elite 4 in that game, it's just I can't remember the name of the place. Basically London. I think it's actually called something like Indon or something.
Yeah, it's just the Pokemon League tournament, I suppose, like you see in the anime. It's that kind of thing, kind of basically. But yeah, so I think so the reason why they chose these specific starters is obviously Sinnoh is obviously this particular game is based on like obviously it's been based on Sinnoh, but it's also going for that like kind of ancient Japan style. And the starters are actually representative of the different types of kind of Japanese warriors from that kind of era. So Cyndaquil, like at their final forms, obviously you've got Typhlosion, which is seen as the warrior. You've got what's Rowlet's final evolution?
Decidueye. Archer.
Decidueye is the archer. And and Samurott is the samurai. So there's a reason, there's a cultural reason why they've chosen these starters.
I'm not saying that. Like I'm just like I can get that, but because of I'm just like for me it's like if these Pokemon were never in that area, then why are they there then? And then no one knows about them in a fucking few years, if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean? Like in the main game, like these Pokemon weren't there. Doesn't mention that these Pokemon existed in that area and they're just not there anymore. They just didn't exist. So that's the only reason why I'm like, they should have had Pokemon from previous gens that, and like could be there, not ones that couldn't have, if that makes sense. Unless like, all right, we've accidentally unleashed a I'm gonna say a Litten into the wild, because I can't think of anything right now. Oh no, it's bred with a Ditto. Oh no, there are millions of Litten. Let's take them all to Hawaii. You know what I mean? Like, well, the Decidueye is a perfect example. The Decidueye was released, it humped a Ditto. They had a Decidueye baby, a Rowlet baby. Then all of a sudden they keep breeding, and then yet there's none in the Sinnoh region at all. It's like, what, they went and captured every single one and took them back?
Well,
if like you said, this the wild area was them testing the waters, this concept, that would mean this game's only been in development for 9 months at this point.
I think I think the game was probably in development. I'm assuming the early development probably started.
I mean, pre-production, yeah.
Yeah, like it probably started around a similar time to when Sword and Shield started. But what they did
full-on
then,
development.
Yeah. No,
probably 9 months.
Yeah, potentially. Potentially. I think it was one of those things that they, obviously this is all guesswork, but I want to say this game was probably started. The concept was being developed around the same time that they were obviously developing Sword and Shield, and then it got to the point where they realized they had to kind of at least try and implement some of that into Sword and Shield to kind of give people the proof of concept. So then Sword and Shield development then took that kind of where they were up to in terms of what they were doing with this Arceus game, and then kind of put that into the game while Legends Arceus continued to be developed. And then when they had to develop the DLC, they just went back to that development team and went, right, how far have you got now? Okay, well, let's take that for Isle of Armor, let's take that for Crown Tundra, and we'll take what you've kind of the work you've already done, and we'll kind of implement that now. So I want to say they were probably good. I reckon Sword and Shield plus the DLCs kind of took what was being developed for this game.
Right, you think they did it the other way around? Yeah.
Okay. So I think they were developed at the same time, and they were just because what you got to remember is
when did Pokemon Sword and Shield come out?
2019.
So it could have been that they started full development then when it came out, and had small teams just work on the DLC.
Well, funnily enough, Pokemon, Game Freak have got two teams. So they've got the main team, which develop the mainline games, and they've got a secondary team, which is up until recently was
Remake.
They were specifically remake people. They did Fire Red and Leaf Green. They did Heart Gold and Soul Silver. They did Oras. They were just dedicated to allow the main team to continue focusing. Well, so actually think about it. So let's say the main team worked on Sword and Shield and started to develop the early concept of what they wanted to do with Arceus. They implemented those early things into Sword and Shield. That was released, and then I think the main team started working on Arceus as soon as Sword and Shield was released, because the backup team, if you want to call them that, the remake team, were the ones who developed the DLC, which means while the main team probably got immediately on to developing this Arceus game, developing that open world style, that secondary team was able to borrow what they were doing and improve on it, if you see what I mean. So I hope that makes sense anyway.
No, that is entirely plausible. But unfortunately, we'll never know.
No.
But it makes sense for them to have a smaller team work on the DLCs while the main team move on to the bigger game.
Yeah. So I'm gonna guess that the super early concept development of Arceus started around the same time as Sword and Shield, in terms of they knew that they wanted to implement elements of that, but then I think full development probably come into swing once Sword and Shield was complete.
Right.
So that's my guess. I
mean, that makes me a bit more optimistic that they'll hit that release date of early 2022.
Yeah, which means, I mean, the game is okay. The
game is approximately 1 year away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This March now.
Yeah. So, because that's what I was thinking as well, is a game is usually complete before it's released, isn't it? As in, I don't know, it's probably complete for 2-3 weeks, maybe a month. Like the actual game is finished before it's released, isn't it?
Yeah, it's finished. Then it goes
day one patches.
Well, they're called gold, and then
So when did Sword and Shield come out? It came out November
17th, I think.
There you go. Yeah, so November 17th. So let's just say, hypothetically, the game development team finished the game a month earlier, and then it was just debugging and stuff like that, but the actual development was finished probably earlier, but let's just say a month just for numbers' sake. So let's just say that's October. So that development team probably finished, and then I'm guessing from, let's say, October 2019, they've been developing this game, which would give it 2.5 years.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Give or take.
I mean, the only thing that throws me off is that this is completely unknown territory for Game Freak. They've never shown this kind of ambition before.
No. And can you see why my theory in terms of the wild area was a concept? Because they could not. When you've got a franchise that has made $96 billion worldwide, you cannot risk changing the direction that quickly. this is why I think even Arceus is probably going to be janky, but there's a reason for it. It's because they want it to be perfect, or as perfect as they can make it for Gen 9.
The only issue you've got is if they continue to, like, if it takes them a while to get where they want, and they continue to release janky games, people are gonna kind of start falling out of favor with them. They can't take too many games getting it right. If what you were saying is what they are doing, they need to get it right quickly. They can't like have like say the next 6 fucking games come out and be wonky until they finally get it, you know.
Yeah, when I say janky, I'm not. Yeah, no.
I know you don't mean like full blown fucking wank.
I'm talking like I'm talking Breath of the Wild janky, where, let's be fair, that game is loved by millions of people worldwide. It's considered, one of the best games of all time, and this and that. But it's undeniable that there's still a bit of jank in that game, and that's what I was talking about. I think Arceus will come out in that vein of. I think it's gonna have the polish. I think it's gonna have that Breath of the Wild levels of polish, but I also think it's gonna have Breath of the Wild levels of jankiness. If you see
that's what I've got to aim for, really.
Yes, it totally, because they've got like researchers keeping an eye on what the community is saying about these games, and everyone is saying Pokemon Breath of the Wild, and they know that, so they've got a point of reference immediately, and they know that game has to be on par with Breath of the Wild in terms of the way it works. If it's a janky mess, then they're in a lot of trouble. But yeah, so I'm thinking anyway that we're going to have a Breath of the Wild-esque experience in terms of it'll be polished, it'll look lovely, it will run well, but then every so often it'll just kind of there's a little jank, but you don't mind. You'll be like, okay, cool, I'll move on. At the end of the day, Breath of the Wild, no one's turned around and gone, that game is shit because of this. Like, people are willing to forgive that game because of everything else about it, and I think that's going to be the case with this game.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But maybe
we have to be thankful that Game Freak are actually fulfilling this childhood dream.
Yeah.
Of an open world Pokemon game,
Yeah. I can't wait.
It's going to be interesting, isn't
it? Again, it's lore, and I'm a big Pokemon geek. I want that lore. I want to absorb that. I love like the Pokeballs that they showed, like the primitive version of the Pokeball.
Rustic.
They looked amazing. I love that idea. Little puff of smoke at the end, like that's how you know you caught it. It's like little things. Those Pokeballs don't shrink because they're not digital. They don't shrink. They're full size all the time. Little things. It's clever. It's smart.
Yeah. The more you analyze it, the more.
Thinking about it though, if they should do that with they obviously haven't done them since like Gen 3, 2. Like obviously you can get dive balls and stuff, but back in Generation 2 or 3, I forgot which one it was, is you could take like fruit to a man and he would make balls out of it. Yeah, so realistically in that game they should have been full-size balls you're carrying around.
I think you reckon the Pokedex will be similar to the Sheikah Slate?
Ooh. Possibly. I think the Sheikah Slate was designed the way it was because it was meant to be the Wii U gamepad, wasn't it?
Yeah, that'll be real. That'll be real.
But that's the point of the game, or it's supposed to be like Garen there doing the very first Pokedex ever, which I thought the Pokedex was an invention by Professor Oaks. Professor Oaks, a lion bastard.
It's going to be very, very interesting to see how.
Probably not going to be a proper Pokedex. It's probably going to be like as if maybe you've caught your Pokemon and it's instead of it going Pokedex updated with the information somehow, it's like a scroll and you write, and it's meant to be you writing in a bit of information about the Pokemon. So it's like your Pokedex.
Feudal Japan-esque.
Yeah.
I doubt it'll be like that, but it'd be cool, wouldn't it? It's like Pedz says this about this Pokemon, and then I get to say this Pokemon likes to shag the ceiling. You know? I didn't know where I was going with the Celio.
I
The
think
Spheal.
I think there's a lot of scope for this game. I mean, they've also hinted at Pokemon that you can ride on, which obviously they've done.
Ride on.
Ride on. They've done that in the Let's Go games where you're able to ride on the bigger Pokemon and fly. And
they did that in not the flying bit, like, but they did ride in Pokemon in Sun and Moon. You could ride on a Growlithe. Not Growlithe, that Arcanine, was it?
Yeah.
No, on a Tauros.
It's Tauros, was it? I couldn't remember. I thought it was an Arcanine. Yeah. And also, could you ride on the Terrier as well, the big, like, Herderia, yes. And now it just sniff out certain things, I think.
Yeah. So they've implemented that a little bit, and the theory is if this is a big old open world, could you jump on the back of let's just
Dodrio.
I'm going to say Charizard. I know he's not in this game, but let's just say Charizard and fly around the whole map and potentially encounter the flying Pokemon as you're going around.
That'd be pretty cool. That's how you could anyway, but it was a good way to encounter flying type Pokemon in Let's Go, wasn't it? And you were flying about, you would see more flying Pokemon. Yeah.
And again, that makes a lot of sense to me. So that they've hinted at ride on Pokemon. If this is a big open world like they have hinted, like at the end of the day, if this is, let's just say it's the scale of Breath of the Wild, which has got a big open world map, like you want to get around that a little quicker than just running. So all of a sudden you might be able to fly or just jump on the back of something before, like on the back of a Luxray.
That is true. You could surf on a Pokemon in Generation 1.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Oh yeah. It's these little things you forget.
That was Cumberdanes who said that, not me. That wasn't.
Yeah. Right.
And I'll take credit for what someone else said.
But yeah, so the riding thing is it's kind of it's looking like that's where that's going.
The thing is like it would make perfect sense, wouldn't it? You know, flying around, especially if it's a big open world, you'd want to be able to get around quickly. Obviously, you can have your Pokemon to get around on land. The issue is it going to be? Oh, look, I've just evolved a flying type big enough, like a Pidgeot or Pidgeot, some people say, is big enough for you at least Ash to ride on. Or bigger is generally speaking, but you're also a child in that game now. So like if you get that to like level 30 odd, are you going to be able to go, bam, I can fly around now anywhere I want?
Well, it'll be interesting to see how they implement the flying mechanic. Maybe you've got to maybe you've got to train up Pokemon, as in you've got to tame it, like to do these things. Even if it's the Pokemon you own, you've got to teach it. Like you've got to teach it to do that skill. Do you know what I mean?
Cumberdain says maybe you can catch a Ponyta. Their whole thing is if they trust you, flames don't burn.
Yeah. So you got to get friend level high enough with that particular Pokemon.
Yeah. They'll fucking introduce HMs and again. That's one thing. And one thing I will mention quickly about the new remake is I hope they don't bring back HMs. I want to be faithful, but I want that to fuck off.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like them. They're a waste of Pokemon.
Yeah, you only get 6 slots, you know.
Yeah. And Gen 4 was actually the most HM heavy as well.
It was like fucking 90 of them, weren't it? I think it was like 9, weren't it? 8?
Something ridiculous. And the worst thing about it is some of those HMs you only ever used once or twice.
Ruined your mon.
It was cumbersome.
Leave Cumberdains alone.
I said cumbersome.
Yeah, no, I was joking. But no, it's definitely going to be interesting to see where they go. I'm looking forward to it. I enjoy the Pokemon games. I don't enjoy them as much as I used to personally because I just don't. I think Bidoof would go extinct if not for HMs. True. I think a part of Pokemon for me just has not been it's never got better than Gen 2 for me, because Gen 2 was such a fucking leap from Gen 1 that like I've never found any others to have this massive leap, and I'm wondering if this Arceus game may actually be that. But so I'm just hoping that it will kind of give me that kind of joy of going from Gen 1 to Gen 2 this game, because it's something I've always wanted. Like, the issue with me is open worlds I'm not great with. I tend to get bored of them after a while, so I'm hoping this will be a lot more interesting in a lot of respects.
Just out of interest, sorry to interrupt, has anyone got the thought running through their head that the other reason why they're looking at making this open world and potentially turning Pokemon, the actual generations, into open world? As I said, they prove their proof
so
of
they can cross her over
for,
with Zelda, obviously.
So they got their proof of concept with having like a little village that you could go into in and out of. So the theory is that maybe there's they could start expanding on that with proper like towns, so you don't have to like leave the open world and stuff, and that's fine. Anyway, my point being is there any scope potentially for them to be considering doing some form of I don't want to say MMO, but like is like a online Pokemon game, or are they looking at future generations being like online? Because if you think about it, if you go into the wild area, lots of I know you can't interact with them and you can't do much with them, but there are other players running around live. Like if they are moving in your game, they are being controlled by another player. Like in the wild area, as you walk around, you can talk to them, and not much happens apart from they give you some ingredients, and that's okay. Proof of concept, as I said. Is there a thought that are they looking at going full, like potentially like online with this in terms of like? It had to
have crossed their minds at some point.
It must have, because remember a few years ago there was that Pokemon Online game. Do you remember it? And Nintendo had it taken down, but it was up for years. I don't know if you remember. It was literally called Pokemon MMO, and basically it was I believe it was just Kanto, but it was an actual MMO, but it was in the style of Fire Red and Leaf Green. So it was that 16-bit style, 32-bit style, whatever, 16-bit style. So it was all color in that. But there was Kanto, but you walk around the world and there are other trainers and they're all real people, and so they got all these little sprite people walking around, and like you all going around catching Pokemon. You can like walk up to someone and challenge them for a battle. You can challenge them to a trade. Like you can interact with those people, and that was taken down a few years ago by Nintendo. But at the end of the day, look at what you could do with the wild area. Like, how much of a jump realistically is it where you go from that to this Arceus thing? Like, how much of a jump is it to go from populating the world with other players, like they've already done with the wild area, to being able to interact with them? Like, how much of a jump is that really?
I don't know, because it's Nintendo.
It's a lot of logistics.
Nintendo are like, you need to have their friend code to interact.
Yeah. Sorry, what were we saying?
And even then, you can only talk on your phones.
Yeah, I was just saying sounds like a logistical nightmare.
Coming in says the town building sounds like something out of a level 5 RPG. I honestly expected Doom to go, do you know what I'm thinking? They're going to do some kind of awesome open world Pokemon game that is like a Pokemon game crossed with something like Stardew Valley.
I've already got that in my head. I've named it Pokemon Rancher as well, so I've already got it in my head.
Game Freak already did like a Pokemon-esque MMO type thing with a town.
They have?
Yeah, and that didn't work out well for them.
I thought Town was meant to be. I've not played it. I thought it was meant to be just you in one town and you meant to just fight monsters in a kind of like as if they boss battles. Oh, I thought it was. Then played it.
It is essentially an open world RPG that is based in a town. I don't know if it's online. I don't think it was online, but it was open world RPG. So put it this way, for me that was them experimenting with textures and the open world style, getting ready for seeing how the wild area would work, which was then getting ready to develop Arceus. So it's all DNA. It's all in the DNA at the end of the day. But yeah, like how far, like, are we thinking like maybe Gen 10 we get like full online capability? Maybe by then we're talking about like a Switch 2 with a lot more hardware than what we currently got. Is that realistic? Like, I don't think Gen 9. I think Gen 9 they need to. It's not going to be there, but Gen 10.
Gen 9 will be another half step.
I think so. I think Gen 9 will have the. I don't want to say perfected. That's a strong word, but I'm thinking Gen 9 will nail down the Arceus style, as in the open world. Like, you know, they'll fix the jank. They'll get it all working smoothly as a single player experience with like the wild area style. Like maybe you see other people walking around, but you can't do anything with them. They're there to just populate the area, and that's fine. And then if you don't go online, that's fine. It's just nobody else is there, and that's okay. I'm just trying to think now. But then Gen 10, is that where they then push it further and say, okay, we've kind of nailed down the open world thing?
Could you imagine playing fucking Pokemon and you're standing there battling another Pokemon and some dickhead comes along running around with his fucking level 100 Mewtwo and ganks you as you're fucking just about to catch something and runs off.
I'm assuming they would make sure that doesn't happen, but yeah, that would be hilarious and infuriating at the same time. Yeah.
It'd be like playing WoW when you're in the middle of a fight with some NPCs, like some monsters or something, and then just some fucking orc dickhead runs past who's like 20 levels higher, then he just stabs you in the back and runs off going, kek. Bastards. Whoa, trust you. Coming to said, you know there is already a Pokemon-esque RPG with town building, Noni Kuni 2.
Oh, I haven't played those games.
I've not played Noni Kuni. I don't even know if I've got them. I might have. Got a lot of games.
What systems are they on?
PlayStation 4, and I think the remaster of Noni Kuni maybe on Switch and PC. I'm not sure though. You'd have to ask someone with a bit more knowledge of the series. Yeah, I'm not sure. But like it's meant to be good games. Like visually, they're fucking stunning. They're Studio Ghibli design, and Studio Ghibli stuff's lovely.
Yeah, they nailed it.
Yeah, they nailed the look of it. The first Noni Kuni's on PS3, PS4, and Switch. Something it said. Moving on from Pokemon then, as we've been live for 2 hours and 48 minutes.
This has been a long one.
Yeah, sometimes they are. It depends, especially when Doom's around. Me and Doom talk a lot. Especially Doom. Doom doesn't stop. I'm only joking. He does stop because he'd have a nap in between chats, like when we still streaming. So it appears that, like, obviously Doom mentioned it earlier that, like, maybe with the rumors that Pokemon will come out March next year at the 5th anniversary of the Switch, and there's rumors that the Switch is going to be getting a Pro version of the console. It's going to have an OLED display, which is going to be 720p, but it's also going to be 4K when docked, and it seems to be Samsung Display Core are the people doing a mass production of these 7-inch screens. So whereas there's always been rumors of a Pro, this seems to actually be grounded with some actual basis other than I think they're gonna do it. Oh, an insider told me, and then this thing never happens. So, what are your thoughts on the Switch Pro? Would you like to get a Switch Pro? If it comes out, are you going to get it? Like there are two different questions. One is, would you like one? And one is, would you buy? Are you buying it anyway? Also, do you think there's any point doing a Switch Pro? Would you rather them just go a full proper leap to a full next gen? Because, you know, it may be needed. Because
I mean, all I'm going to say is,
I don't know.
with the sheer amount of rumbling surrounding a Switch Pro going around, I've been convinced of it for quite a while.
I've been saying for 3 years. I was saying before the Switch Lite was announced.
Yeah, I just don't know what to make of it until Nintendo start releasing official details.
No, exactly. Yeah. But like I said, the only reason why I'm mentioning it now, I don't think I've mentioned it before, is because of this Samsung thing.
Right, yeah.
It seems to have like some kind of basis in reality in comparison to going, there's going to be a Switch Pro. You know, it seems to be, it seems to have...
It's happening.
Yeah, so, you know, something to it. It might not happen, but, you know, it'd be cool if it would.
Yeah.
Maybe. But what would you think? What do you think, Em? Would you buy a Switch Pro for Kim?
Yeah.
Or would you be like, I'd rather a Switch 2?
If I can transfer my save data, I'll buy it.
Yeah. No, I'm with you there. In fact, as I alluded to earlier, like I've had a couple of opportunities to pick up a Series X, but I've purposely held off because I get so, like, when I compare the two, my One X to my Switch, I get so much more playtime out of my Switch. And I've had my Switch since, like, I say day one, it was like a month after day one, but I've had it basically for the full time the Switch has been released. You know, I've never changed anything. It's a little bit of drift going on one of my things, but it's nothing. It only happens once every so often, and it's very manageable. So so I've literally changed nothing on that console. I've put like thousands of hours of game time on that console. Like, I'm holding off buying a next gen Xbox specifically to pick up a Switch revision, like providing it's a more powerful one. I am holding off specifically for that because I get so much more playtime on my Switch. So I'm all for that.
Yes, that's fair. For me, I get more playtime out of my my PC. Like, for me, I'm unsure. The thing is that, like, it's like, oh yeah, the 4K and stuff like that. I don't give a fuck about 4K. Like, yeah, don't get me wrong, HDR is lovely and really does make a game fucking pop. Like, you know, the 4K to me doesn't make much difference, and it really doesn't. Personally, I would rather the game just be like 1080p and just run fucking smooth.
Yeah,
like literally fucking perfect 60. I would rather 120, but perfect 60 would be okay.
Yeah,
it's just better, in my opinion. Yeah. And I think. I think this whole target of like it was, oh no, look, this is HD, oh look, this is 4K with HDR, and then 4K with HD. I just think they targeted the wrong thing, but for games, personally. Yeah. But it seems to be the mass market thing, in the sense of, like, most people will go, right, I'm buying a new TV, it's 4K, and they don't really think, well. Like people who are buying those things, and a lot of who are buying games now, I don't think, like, your average Joe is really caring about frame rates now. They don't really understand it, maybe, and don't know about it well enough. And like a higher resolution to them probably sounds better. So they're going where the money is, and I get that. But for myself, like playing Rocket League on my PC, I could tell the difference when I play it on my fucking Xbox straight away.
Yeah.
Because one is 60 frames and one is 120.
Yeah. I
You know?
think, I think, it'd be interesting to see, because obviously Samsung have been ordered to develop these 720p OLED panels, which to me, obviously, I believe this insider that has leaked this information has said that the Samsung are going to start. They're going to start development of these screens, kind of middle of the year. With the first order, there's a first order of 1 million, and then those are being shipped to the Switch, like the sites where the Switches are actually like physically put together. So this insider, I believe he works. I say they. I don't know if it's a man or a woman. They have said that, they basically said that they work for Nintendo, I believe, in terms of their building side of things. Hence why they know about this stuff. But it makes you think, like, 720p 7-inch screen is what they're looking at developing. I don't think, and I get it, the reason why they're doing that is for battery life. It's all well and good for them to be able to put like a 1080p screen in there, but they are thinking of battery life. And battery life on the Switch, even on the revision, like the new Switches, like not the lights, but remember they revised the original Switch, gives better battery life, but it's not amazing, not considered to like the 3DS and stuff. So they have to say that, but OLED is a lot more power efficient as well, so that'll help. But the fact that these panels are 720p is kind of indicating to me that, like, that would be such a big jar. Like, I get it, it's a small screen, but like that, it'd be such a big jar to jump from that to 4K. So I'm wondering if they're just maybe, I'm wondering if they're looking at developing a system that will pretty much, like, I don't want to say guarantee, but it will improve frame rates of all games, if you know what I mean. Maybe, the games that kind of run at steady 30 are now pushing 60. I don't know if they can guarantee it, but they're pushing 60. And the ones that are like the new Hyrule Warriors, I know there's a lot of, like, the frame rate tanks a lot in that. So maybe games where the 30 FPS can't be maintained is like guaranteed 30, and maybe it can go to 40, 45, like, but it's guaranteed 30 and it will not drop below that, stuff like that. But crucially, I'm wondering if maybe docked, they're either going for 1080p or they're maybe pushing to 1440p, just to say, like you said, it's a selling point. At the end of the day, if they can say this new Switch plays at 1440p, people will buy it just to make, like, just because they believe that will look better on their screen than 1080. Do you see what I mean? But yeah, I think this Switch revision, much like, at the end of the day, it's going to be much like the new 3DS. The new 3DS's visuals were no different at all. Like, apart the games, like Xenoblade was only playable on the new 3DSs and stuff because of the graphical oomph that was required to run that game. But yeah, I'm thinking this console is basically to, like, at the end of the day, the Switch is, like we said, it's 4 years old now. But game and the Switch Lite doesn't really come to this because that's not hardware, like motherboard processor revision or anything. I think games have been continuing to develop moving forward with development, where the Switch has stayed still. There's no development on the Switch, like, for the physical hardware. So this is just a chance to let the newer games that are kind of slowly maybe making the Switch look a bit tired, just to really, like, give those the potential that they deserve, maybe. So it's all quality of life.
Yeah. Rumors 720 handheld and 4K dock. Yeah. But I'm wondering, like, 4K is a massive leap from 720. Like 720p on handheld, it's fine. That'll be great on such a small screen. A 7-inch screen is fucking tiny. But 4K, like, if it's that powerful, like, is it gonna have extra stuff in the dock? Is it gonna be like a pro dock, not just like a pro and a pro dock? Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's extra shit in the dock, like extra fans that kick in, keep it cool, or is it just the Switch itself? But I don't know. I for me, it's just a boost mode. Like, I think the PlayStation 5 will boost your PlayStation 4 games. I think that like some games you can unlock the frame rates, and then like on the PlayStation 5, they'll run it like perfect 60 frames and stuff, shit like that. So
Can't see Nintendo offering options like that.
Yeah. No, Nintendo will be like, you have to use your phone. No, we're joking. I don't know. It's just
performance modes and whatnot.
Ow, my back. Sorry, what was that?
In regards to like enabling performance modes, I don't think Nintendo would give us the option.
No. I think that it's going to be like if there's a Switch Pro, it'll probably be better in handheld, and it'll be better in dock, but not massive amounts. I reckon it'll be kind of like a new 3DS to 3DS kind of thing. And personally, now it's been 5 years, I don't see the point in an upgrade after like if it comes out, say at in next year March, March next year. That's 5 years. You may as well just wait another year and release a year or two and release a full fat console. It's like I didn't get a PlayStation 4 Pro because I didn't want the I didn't see the point in an upgrade. And the only reason why I got an Xbox One X was because I got it through Klarna. I thought, right, I'll get it through Klarna, and then it means I'm guaranteed then to grab the the next gen console through that program, through the same program, which is exactly what I've done.
Yeah.
So I think with the the DS, I got the DS and then there was another DS after it. It was the DS, the DS Lite, and then DSi. I got the DS, I got the DS Lite, and then I thought, I'm fed up of buying revisions. I'm fucked off doing it. At the end of the day, they should release it fucking properly in the first fucking place. Which is why I didn't get the DSi, and which is why I didn't get the new 3DS. Fuck them. If they're not going to release the fucking stuff tidy in the first place, then I'm not buying the fucking revisions. Suck my dick.
I mean, a revision of the Switch makes sense now because they literally didn't have the technology to make it better. Like they made the Switch as good as they could, considering it also has to run handheld, and so battery life has to be a factor in it.
I'm not saying that, but I'm saying like it's 4 years. It's only another year, and this is planned to be released at the end of the year. I think end of 2021. You may as well just wait a little bit longer and try and like wait a little longer and go for a Switch 2 than a Switch and a half.
There are other factors they have to take into account though when deciding whether to revise the existing hardware or surge on with a completely new hardware.
Yeah, no, I get that, but it just seems kind of like half-assed, so late in the generation. Like halfway through makes sense. Right near the end of, like, well, not right near, but like 5 years in, it just seems a bit late.
I mean, what you got to remember is we actually don't know how long this generation's going to last for Nintendo because, as we've seen, they do their own thing. They don't care what Microsoft and Sony are doing. They're off doing their own thing. Like at the end of the day, the life of the Wii U was only 4 or 5 years before they released the Switch or whatever it was because they could, you know.
Yeah, to be honest, I think the only reason why that was is because the fucking Wii U tanked.
Yeah. Oh no, exactly. But that's what I mean is like they decided to release the Switch when they did because they were like, you know, fuck it, we haven't really got much to lose now.
I mean, the only person they were going to upset is Java.
Yeah. But yeah, so like at the end of the day, the Switch has not like Microsoft and Sony have to release their consoles when they do, because if they don't do it, as shown before, if you're a year late to that party, either one of them are a year late, it will severely affect those sales. So like they have to compete with each other on release dates and stuff, and so like if Sony say they're going to release the next console like 6 years after their last one, Microsoft have to do the same. They have to. That's how they stay in thing with each other. Nintendo, they don't care. They're doing their own thing. If the Switch is selling, I don't think they're going to be in a rush to. At the end of the day, put it this way, I think this is just a interesting thing. The PS4 was doing so well in sales. It's so well. Sony didn't want this generation to end. They had to end it because Microsoft ended it. That's the only way that because they can't afford to lose it. If Microsoft didn't if Microsoft weren't bothered about starting a new generation, Sony would eke the PS4 up for as long as they can because of how successful it is. And Nintendo are in the unique position that they don't have to worry about anyone else because they are doing their own thing. So therefore, as long as the Switch keeps selling, they'll sit on anything else they need to do. So actually, we're saying that next year, 5 years in, I'm just saying, I'm not saying this is good, but potentially 5 years might we could potentially still see 3 or 4 years away before a Switch 2. They might be able to get this revision out now. You never know, they might even be another revision before they even release a Switch. At the end of the day, if the Switch is doing so well and it's selling like mad, and they release this revision and it's still selling like mad, they'll just screw it, we'll just do another revision and get a few more years out of it.
Until the sales slow down a lot, they're gonna keep on.
And like I say, they don't need to worry about what the other two are doing. The other two aren't competing with them. They're not competing with the other two. So they're actually in the beautiful position of not worrying. So actually, I think if they release this is hey, if I'm wrong, then fine, I'll hold my hands up. But I think if they release this Switch revision either end of this year or early 2022, I reckon we've still got at least 3 years left of Switch life before maybe I'm going to say 3.5 years from that revision before we get the next actual proper generation 2 Switch. Like, that's my take on it.
So I was just reading what coming in and saying, he said, Doom makes a great point. Due to popularity, Famicom was supported by Nintendo until around 2001 in Japan.
Yeah.
I know him.
The Wii kept on as steadily kept on getting certain games, the dance party games or whatever, Just Dance, up until
Disgusting.
This year, even last year, like it was still getting games. Like, do you know what I mean? It is still possible. I believe there is still there is still games like. Or up until maybe a year or so ago, there were still games coming out for the PS2, like in certain markets. So
yeah, I think there's stuff like that. Similar. No, I don't know like what exactly, but I'm sure I read a few years back now. Not too many, but like stuff was still being done for the Mega Drive in Brazil because it's still so popular. Shit like that.
That's all region specific cases though.
Yeah, it's true. But as I said, Sony would not have started this generation if it wasn't for Microsoft saying that they were going to do it. Like, Sony would have happily maybe gone another 2 or 3 years on the PS4 because of how well it was doing. They would have sat on it for another few years at least. So their hand was forced. Nintendo's hands are not forced at all. They can do their own thing. So actually, I think whenever this Switch revision come out, I'm going to predict that we're going to get 3.5 years worth of Switch before they release the actual Gen 2 Switch.
I'll be honest with you though, getting a PlayStation 5 and a Series X this gen, my concern is do I buy it like when I can? or do I leave it and wait and see if there's a mid-gen upgrade and just buy that? Because I don't want to buy a PlayStation 5 and then buy a PlayStation 5 fucking Pro. I just don't. I don't like. I guess it's kind of different with the Switch because it's like a handheld. But like I said, I don't care. For me, if they made a Switch Pro, I'd want it to be a fucking console that's properly fucking just a console that plays everything with fucking like 5,000 frames per second. But you know what I mean. Like the handheld side of the Switch for me is I've almost never used. The only reason why I've used the handheld is to do the Mario Maker levels for IO Master Mario Maker this year. I've used it because I've got a stylist that works with the screen. So I've used it for that. But other than that, it stays in its fucking dock.
Yeah.
And that's it. But, I know, I feel kind of not cheated, like, but I feel kind of like I've been shat on. It's like, oh, I've adopted your fucking thing, and now you've revised something, and I've got to fucking buy that to get the best experience. It's like, fuck you. Oh, you know, if I was gonna go down the route of fucking having to upgrade every so often, I'd go for a PC.
Yeah, but that's the trade-off for consoles over the PC. Consoles are significantly cheaper than a PC, but
I completely agree with that. But it's just irritating. Like, irritating.
At the end of the day, you know, Game Boy Color, that was a mid-gen upgrade, but it very fondly looked upon. GBA, GBA SP, and then and then the Game Boy Micro. They're all.
Those were downgrades, really.
Well, the
I don't know why anyone bought those.
Yeah, like into the form factor, that original GBA was the best. But I mean, the Wii had.
Yeah, but the SP was awesome instead of fucking. You could actually see your screen.
Although it had a backlight, didn't it?
Yeah. I've seen people who've modded different screens into the GBA, and it looks fucking stunning.
Yeah, it does.
It's like the proper fucking shape, like of a thing, and
yeah. So you know, at the end of the day, I think
exactly that. Like coming in saying, at least with the PS3 and 360 gen, the hardware revisions were just to make them smaller. It wasn't like we've upgraded the thing. And I think the reason why they did it with the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox, because the consoles were considered really underpowered when they launched. I don't think that's the case with the PlayStation 5 and the Series X. But if it is, then there probably will be a mid-gen upgrade, which will fucking annoy me.
On that matter, what you got to remember is that the Switch is underpowered for what it is. Like, if there's a reason for it, it's purely to allow it to be used handheld. But it's using a downclocked version of Nvidia's chip. So like
that's what I'm saying. Like is like if they were to, instead of releasing a Switch Pro, like release some kind of thing that where it docks into the dock. The dock is like the Pro part, and then that gives you the extra oomph.
I was going to say actually, this is a question to the both of you. How do you think? Let's just say the rumors are true, and in dock it will do 4K. How do you think they will be able to implement that? Because I've got my own theory on it, but how do you think they're going to implement 4K on a handheld screen just by putting it into a dock?
I mean, that's for the hardware engineers to figure out.
Like, is it going to be a external graphics card situation? Like, you know, you can turn, as long as you've got the right connector for your laptop, you can plug in an external graphics card and game off that. And so, you know, you can push the performance of your laptop way beyond what it could ever do with that ability. Is that essentially what they're going to do? Is have let's say the console, obviously handheld, it will only do 720, but let's say it'll just lock out at like solid 60 for like all the games or whatever.
Well, the thing is the Nvidia Tegra 1 is in this, and I think there's the Tegra 2 as well, so maybe they'll put that in there.
Yeah.
And maybe there'll be some other things that are available to use because there's that DLSS that you can get with NVIDIA that increases performance and stuff, and it makes it run. Oh no, that doesn't. It makes it run like. It makes games run much nicer looking, but at a lower resolution. It's like I was looking at a Control video, and it looked like it was showing Control, and it was basically showing a native 4K and the 1080p DLSS2 or something. Yeah. And it was showing like visually, the DLSS2 is not far off the quality of the 4K. So maybe they'll be there instead of actual 4K, or maybe it will be a Tegra 2. Or there'll be something in the dock, but it would mean then that your dock is actually like something more than just a piece of plastic.
It would be an external graphics card, essentially.
Yeah, it'd be more.
Yeah, I
like
like
that. It would make sense that because it means that they can keep the exact same form factor of the Switch. Maybe because maybe if you put in a more powerful GPU or CPU or whatever in there, it's going to run hotter as well. So the fans need to fucking be much better in the Switch as well, which is going to mean they're going to need a bigger fan. So even if they did that on the fan in the Switch, there was a fan in the dock that like sucked air out and blew cool air in. That could be a possibility as well. Like I think the dock may end up being something that will have to be tweaked personally to make it work at 4K.
Definitely.
I mean, if they were to make the screen 4K screen, I mean that's going to ramp the cost up significantly, and the Switch is meant to be budget type of gaming system, right?
Wow,
it is.
This is definitely cheaper.
yeah.
It's still like nearly 300 quid. It's definitely no GameCube, which was like 130 quid on release, and then they reduced it to 99.
There's a point.
That's fucking budget gaming. Was
I think
it
it's got
30 quid when it was launched? Was it 199 when it launched, and they reduced it to 30, and then reduced it to 99? Sure, it was 130 when it launched.
It was 199 and then it went down to 130.
Yeah, it was fucking really. That was definitely cheap. And the Wii was cheapish as well. It was like 220. Yeah, and then like the Switch is up. It's like they slowly increasing. And the Wii was a cheek ring. It was basically a fucking GameCube. And they charged more than a GameCube for it, bastards. Yeah. No, it's going to be interesting to see where they go. I don't know if there will be a Switch Pro. If there is a Switch Pro, I said years ago on the pod, or even on this podcast, I would get a Switch Pro, but because I want my games to run smoothly on my TV. But my issue is now is like I don't know, because it's like obviously I don't know how long the Nintendo are going to go before they release a new console. But I just feel that 5 years in is a bit late for a refresh. I just know my luck. I'll get fucking burned. I'll buy it, and then a year down the line they'll be like, "Oh, we're working on the Switch 2. It'll be out next year." And I'll be like, "Fuck you, Nintendo." I know my luck.
What if they threw in like free tickets to Nintendo World with the upgrade?
Cumberdane's games are bloody expensive. I priced Hyrule Warriors earlier, £8 on Wii U, but £52 on the Switch.
Yeah.
It's it's pricey. There is some extra content on the Switch though, to be fair. Not £44 more worth, but there is a little bit more. It's the 3DS stuff. I think you've got like Linkle and other characters.
I'd appreciate a Joy-Con Pro more than a Switch Pro. Yeah.
I like a Joy-Con that doesn't. All they need to do for the Joy-Con for me is stop the fucking drift. Every single pair in this house has got drift.
3 of my Joy-Cons are dead.
Are they?
Yeah.
I've got 7 pairs of Joy-Cons in the house, and every single one, every pair has at least one with drift.
Jesus Christ, man.
Like I've got the same Joy-Cons I've had for the last 4 years when I had the console, and one of them got a little bit of drift, but it's not that bad. Like, as in,
I don't know how you got away with that.
yeah, like when I say it's not that bad, like the only time it affects everything is if I like put my control, if I stop moving something, I'd say maybe one in every 10 times. Sometimes my character will move when I'm not touching the controls. That is it. Like, I've never veered off wildly while playing a game or anything. Like, it's been perfectly fine. So yeah, I don't know how I got away with it either. but yeah, no, I definitely I like, why can't they implement like a Joy-Con Pro that is like got proper grips, like, on the side?
That would sell me.
Yeah.
Did you know the Switch has the same analog controls as PlayStation 4 and Xbox One? Well, I've never had a drift on the PlayStation 4 or the Xbox One controller.
It's funny you say that. There's been a big increase. There's been like a big increase of PS5 joystick drift. Even
I've noticed a bit of drift on my DualSense.
Yeah, and it's actually to the point now where I believe it's there's certain governments. I know governments in America, and I think there's other places that are actually looking into potentially making this, turning this into a lawsuit, because
They did that with the Switch, didn't they? Nothing came of it.
Yeah, but it's kind of almost become a bit of a bigger problem now, because basically the evidence has come out that they've all been using parts that they knew would fail within an unacceptable amount of time. It looks like there's like legal battles like on the horizon for basically like all the companies, potentially, because this new evidence has come out proving essentially that they purposely used components that they knew would not last, like they weren't up to task. There's like a whole thing going on about it now.
That is fucking disgusting.
Yeah, but yeah, like there's been a big big increase of PS5 users complaining about stick drift. I don't know much about the Xbox ones, but they all use the same stick, so I'm assuming there's drift problems with them as well. So,
Phil Spencer, what's your secret?
What's that?
What's your secret, Phil Spencer?
It'd be lovely to know, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, so did you say you've experienced drift on your DualSense?
Yeah, like
Is
within
PS5,
within a couple months.
Yeah, that's your PS5, I assume.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, only a couple of months. God, jeez. Like,
Cumberdane says he saw a YouTube video recently about how they break, why they start drifting, etc.
yeah,
One day Cumberdane's just gonna have to jump on you because he's very informative, but he's never on the Discord.
yeah.
And basically he's fucking, I don't know, podcast bitch voice or something, you know? It's like, Pedz, you must read out what I say. I haven't experienced any drift. There's 4 PlayStation 5 controllers here. I haven't experienced any drift yet. But like I said, seven Joy-Cons, every single one has drift.
With the left stick.
But hopefully I won't get drift with them because I'll be so fucking annoyed. But if they knew about it, then that's bad, man. And hopefully something happens and people get they shit sorted. Yeah. I want 7 Joy-Cons, fucking money's worth, so I can buy new ones with duck drift. And it's like not like
one
of the. What's that, man?
If you could post a link to that video, Cumberdanes, that'd be great.
It'd be really interesting, actually.
It would be interesting to look at the video, yeah. I said a few months back, like after about 2-3 months, something like that. Might have been no, it was around then. The newest Switch we bought, which was the Animal Crossing Switch, like on launch, it started getting drift on the left Joy-Con. It tends to be the left Joy-Con as well. For me, my kid was sitting down before. And he's like, almost switch for me. So I was on the Switch, and his carriage was just running fucking left across the fucking game while I was holding the Switch. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like one of the other kids switches, and I think it's one of my Joy-Cons. If you leave it go, you go up, I think. So like menus are hard as fuck to go through. You gotta try and like fight the fucking up on there. You got it's a pain.
Bad, isn't it?
Yeah.
What about yours, Yub? Have you got any stick drift on your Joy-Cons?
Oh, well, 3 of them, yeah.
On 3. Oh yeah, you did.
No,
say,
actually.
Yeah.
No, it must be 4. There's my 2 original ones that came with the Switch.
Yeah.
I bought another 2, and then another one separately for the left.
Yeah.
All broke down the same way.
This is why I was like gutted, because like if it was I've got 7 pairs of Joy-Cons but like I think each pair is only one of the Joy-Cons fucked. Yeah?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I'll just mix and match, but it's every single one is the left fucking Joy-Con.
Yeah. Funny enough,
so I can't swap like with another one.
Yeah, like the little bit of drift I've got in mine is in my left one as well. I guess that's the one that's used more than any of them, so it makes kind of most sense, I assume.
It does.
It's frustrating, but yeah, like I say, with this new evidence coming out that they like all 3 companies were buying this particular part, like knowing that it wasn't capable of withstanding the use it was going to get. Like it was something like this part was the one that you would expect to see in like the super cheap Chinese knockoffs that you don't expect to last, if you know what I mean. But they're the ones they're essentially using in the main controllers.
God.
So yeah, like the people I feel sorry for are
us who are paying for them.
Well, I was going to say Switch Lite owners, because if you get stick drift on that, your whole console is like, yeah, you've got to replace the whole thing. Like that's bad. That's really, like, if there was any console, if there was anyone that you must make sure doesn't get stick drift, it's the Switch Lite, because if you get bad stick drift on that, the whole thing is unusable. Like, you can't just take a Joy-Con off and get it repaired or get it replaced. Like, the whole console needs to be replaced or repaired. You know, it's concerning. But loads of people are getting drift problems on their Switch Lite. So it's a bad state of affairs that we're in.
I am genuinely not shocked. I'm not. I'm disappointed. Yeah. Anyway, it's 12, right? So I thought we would wrap up soon. I was going to ask viewers if there's any questions, but I think apart from companies, I think everyone has gone now. It's so late. Companies, do you have any questions for us before we all fuck off to bed? I'm actually going to watch an episode of The Mentalist and then go to bed. After I stream, even the pod, just like a podcast compared to playing games, I like to just relax for an hour before I go to sleep.
Yeah. That's why you didn't go for a Switch Lite, yeah. Like, I wouldn't buy a Switch Lite just for that reason. I'm not taking the risk, you know.
It's very merciful of you, come back.
Last time we did the Twitchcast, sorry for interrupting there, is we talked about like forum stuff. We talked about the randomizers were on the go. We were talking about Are You a Master Mario Maker 2021, and we're currently on week 3 with that. The new levels got to be in by Sunday. But I wanted to mention this that I think I didn't mention last time. Is currently we have on the forum the GRcade Mario Kart TT Championship. So far, it looks like Jezo in week 1 and week 2 has won both of them. Mario Circuit GPA and Toad Harbor on week 2. Week 3 is Rainbow Road, and so far there's no winner, but from the looks of it, it looks like Jezo's probably going to be the one to do that.
What is it? Sorry, it's a time trial, is it?
It's Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Time Trial Championship. So if anyone wants to take part, they could just jump on the forum and go to that thread and check it out.
I'll go and have a look at that. That sounds fun. So, yeah, thanks for that.
But I don't think there's any other things going on the forum right now to mention. I thought I would mention that right now. I don't think any of us are taking part, so I can't really say anything, but, you know, it's not hard to say about it. It's just like go around the track of 3 laps and whoever wins. It was funny though because we did 8 years ago with Mario Kart 7 on the DS or 3DS or whatever, maybe Mario Kart DS, and Matt King 85, aka the watching artist, took part and just fucking trounced everyone with his times every single fucking time. And someone was like, oh, we'll do another one, and I think it was Victor was like, oh, yeah, there's no point because Matt just the watching artist just wins all the time. It's like, oh, he doesn't have Mario Kart Deluxe. He's like, oh shit, I'm in. Like loads of people joined in because it's like, yeah, he's not taking part. And it's great. Was it
Urkel who rage quit the current time trial?
I don't know. I haven't read the
Just
thread.
scrolling through, trying to find.
I just thought I would mention it.
Here it is. Fuck this, I'm out. Take me off the list. It isn't worth how angry doing this makes me.
I'm not laughing because he's getting angry at the game. I'm laughing because I end up fucking stand. Like we used to do Mario Kart Mondays for years and years on both Mario Kart 8 and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and we still on the occasion like, hey, let's do a Monday of Mario Kart. And I get so fucking angry playing that game. And I'm not like with any other game, but Mario Kart, it makes me want to fucking punch someone. Seriously, you look at the clips, I'm like, fuck.
One of your Joy-Cons in anger wouldn't make a difference.
Exactly.
Too broken.
Oh no, my Joy-Con's even slightly more damaged compared to what is like normally. But yeah, Mario Kart, fuck me, man, that game pisses me off. I swear, if you go to my channel, I think like my highest viewed clips, I think are mainly Mario Kart, because I think like one of them has got like something stupid like 1,000 odd views, and it's me just going fuck playing Mario Kart. Fuck you, Deadster, I think it is. You hit me off the fucking track. Something like that. It's just good fun. But oh my god, it pisses me off. But in a fun way, like I wouldn't genuinely get angry, like, but it just something about that game, man. It just makes me want to fucking kick a puppy into the sun. That's a joke, by the way. Something off The Good Life I saw. The Good Place, not The Good Life, The Good Place. Which is really funny. No,
Pugsley.
Pugsley's cool. It's just, have you seen The Good Place? In one of the scenes, it's like, oh, it's a puppy, and he's like, oh my god, it's no one's puppy, and they kick it, he goes into the sun, and then the woman comes like, oh, where's my dog? And he's like, oh no. That's great. Oh, it's funny. I like.
Sounds like you need to unwind with some Strokomon, to be honest.
Oh yeah,
that'll calm you down.
Yeah,
let's not go back there.
Yeah.
You've witnessed Dikachu now, haven't you? That'll be with you for the rest of your life.
There's another Pokemon in there that is. If do you watch like the beginning bit? I'm sure there's. It's like
I watched the whole thing.
I think it's called like Squirtle or something, or it's just like a fucking weird dildo Remoraid or something.
It's a fleshlight dressed up as a Remoraid.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
What? Yeah, Dikachu's...
Suck you dry. Suck you dry.
Dikachu's move was to squirt lube all over the place. So,
oh my god.
Yeah, I'm not even, and
I
like
need to see it in motion.
It came out in everywhere, basically. It just sprayed everyone with lube. That was its power.
Fucking hell.
Well, hey.
Honestly, like, for entertainment value, it's actually worth a watch, but be aware that it will scar you for the rest of your life. Like, They even parodied
Look,
the
I'm not
Pokemon
gonna
theme
be-
tune.
I'm
And it's
not-
incredible.
Yeah, I'm not going to watch it because I don't really want to. But watching you watch it was one of my highlights on Twitch ever. It's like, oh, we play some
Yeah.
Rocket League. Oh, we've had a laugh. Ha 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 ha. Stroke 'em on. Oh, I'll have a look at that now. Oh my gosh! All of us pissing ourselves
I
laughing.
couldn't believe what I was watching. It was amazing. I didn't stream it. Just to clarify, I didn't stream it. I streamed my reaction to it.
Yeah, actual that. But, it's funny. And then we were waiting for the not an encore, but a follow-up with 10-inch mutant.
Oh yeah,
10-inch
10-inch Mutant Ninja Turtles.
But
Yeah.
Doom never did it, so you know. So there you go. But yeah, I think we're gonna end here after all this sexy talk. I need to go check out some Pikachu, and then I'm gonna go sleep.
Lovely.
So with that, we will be ending now. I will say that there's an adventure yime. That sounds weird.
Too much.
Yeah.
Too much.
So yeah, thank you with Sin and Jerk. That sounds sexy. Right, we're gonna end now. It's for those who are new to the channel or listening for the first time via some podcast app or coming across on YouTube. We are a community channel and this is a community podcast. So would you please check out grcade.co.uk. GRcade is spelled GRCADE. Yeah, hopefully we will catch you on the forum. I would like to thank both Yubellion and the Doomspoon for the wonderful discussion tonight. Also, Victor, who was left suddenly without saying anything because he really had to go. He didn't want to interrupt us.
That's cool. Well, it's been a pleasure. It's been a while since I've taken part in one of these. To be honest, it's been a while since I've been involved in a stream. Full stop. To be honest, as I said, my efforts have been divided into focusing on the Tally Dads at the moment. So it's been nice to jump on and be involved in a stream, and it's been nice sharing it with you guys as well.
And hopefully some of you Metallidads are listening to this podcast after the fact because Doom have pimped us out like he should have done. Anyway, guys, catch you later. Thank you so much again. Check out grcade.co.uk, at GRcade on Twitter, GRcade on Facebook, and GRcade Video on YouTube. Bye.
Love you.